My dad made me choose one of the 10 goddesses to marry. This video is purely for entertainment and does not violate copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and the image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 251 Slapped to Death. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. Meeting people he knew would save him a lot of trouble. Are you my daughter's fiance? Ren Yunqiao walked over and motioned for the security guard to open the door. That's right, Fen Lin nodded. Who was the person next to you? Ren Yunqiao pointed to Sikam Jin and asked. Sikam Jin's appearance can never be ignored. This is my brother. Fen Lin put his arm around Sikam Jin's shoulders. Brother. Ren Yunqiao observed carefully and noticed that Sikam Jin had no feminine features. He also secretly expressed his surprise that such a beautiful person was actually a man. Come in. Ren Yunqiao turned around and entered the mansion. Fen Lin accelerated a few steps and approached Ren Yunqiao. Andy, is this Wen Renxi's mother? That's how it is. Ren Yunqiao nodded and looked at Fen Lin. I know something about you. My daughter is more than enough for you. Fen Lin came here not to talk about marriage. He hurriedly asked. Did anyone else come to visit us just now? Other people? No. Ren Yunqiao shook her head. What? Did something happen? Something happened. Fen Lin looked into the depths of the mansion. The old man is here. I will chat with him. Fen Lin, why do I feel like you have abandoned this place? Are you married? You and my daughter haven't even gotten close yet. Are you going to meet the old man as you say? Ren Yunqiao frowned slightly, looking a little displeased. Fen Lin is your fiance. You said it was the first time you met the other person's parents and you didn't bring any gifts. There is no etiquette in this. Ren Yunqiao was naturally a little angry when he started talking about meeting the old man now. This is a big deal. This friend of mine is from the country's secret army. Fen Lin patted Sikam Jin on the shoulder. He heard on the phone before that people from the second sect met people from the third sect when they went to Wenren's house. Maybe that's why they didn't enter. I think they will come soon. Secret Legion. Ren Yunqiao's expression changed. She had heard about this organization from her husband. It is a secret legion cultivated by the state, specifically targeting those ancient warriors. Are you an ancient warrior? Ren Yunqiao looked at Sikam Jin. Sikam Jin didn't say anything. He stepped forward and his figure disappeared from Ren Yunqiao's eyes. Ren Yunqiao's expression changed and she immediately looked for Sikam Jin. When she turned around, she realized that Sikam Jin was behind her. As expected, he is an ancient warrior. Ren Yunqiao is also a person who knows the importance. Since he is a member of the country, he cannot neglect it. Please follow me. Under the leadership of Ren Yunqiao, they walked around the mansion villa. Go back straight and here you will find a small red door. Ren Yunqiao opened the small door and saw a lake in front of him. The water and the sky shine. There is an armchair next to it. An old bald man is sitting here, fishing leisurely. This person is none other than Wen Renxi's grandfather, Wen Renpen. Dad, Fen Lin is here to find you, Ren Yunqiao whispered from the side. Fen Lin. Wen Renpen immediately turned around and stared at Fen Lin's face, which was somewhat similar to that of the miracle doctor. He nodded secretly. It is indeed Fen Lin. Is he here to fulfill the marriage? No, Fen Lin shook his head. This is my friend, a member of the country's secret army. Oh. The secret army. Wen Renpen looked surprised. Are you here to discuss cooperation? We have received news that someone might be blackmailing you in the past 2 days to ask Wen Renpen to cooperate with them. Ha ha ha. Wen Renpen suddenly laughed and the fishing rod in his hand shook. It scares away small fish that are about to take the bait. Ren Yunqiao also laughed loudly and scolded. Fen Lin, do you know what kind of person my father is? There are still people threatening him. How outrageous. Don't blame him. Wen Renpen stood up proudly and said lightly, Fen Lin's father is a doctor and doesn't know much about ancient warriors. Fen Lin rolled his eyes, not understanding his grandmother. In the middle stage of resonance, it's a piece of cake. The land of the 9 netherworlds sent out the divine orifice realm this time. A slap can kill you. Old man, the people here this time they're not simple. They have all sent the secret army, that's enough. Don't mention this matter again. What about the secret army? As a grandmaster, I can still occupy a place. High position even in the secret army. When Renpen waved his hand, Fen Lin, you don't have to get involved in this kind of thing. Whoever dares to threaten me, I will slap him to death. Fen Lin and Sikam Jin looked at each other and could only stay here for the moment. Fen Lin, your vision is too narrow. You may not know what a great teacher is. You will know when those people come here and act recklessly. Ren Yunqiao crossed her arms, her eyes a little arrogant. It felt like looking at Fen Lin was like looking at a poor relative. Fen Lin, your father was kind to me. I heard that Renpen's words are irresistible. No matter how humble your status, I agree to your marriage with Juxi. When Renpen put away the fishing rod and put it down. Chair. He stood with his hands behind his back and led the way. You're a guest, let me prepare some snacks. Yeah. Ren Yunqiao turned and left. Fen Lin and Sakam Jin followed him. He had no opinion on Wen Renpen's attitude. Although he is a bit pretentious, he can be considered a person who means what he says. Under the leadership of Wen Renpen, Fen Lin and Sakam Jin approached the stone table in the backyard. Ren Yunqiao asked his servants to prepare some meals. Sit. Wen Renpen motioned for Fen Lin and Sakam Jin to sit down, and he also sat down. Prepare to talk about Feng Lin and Wen Renxi's marriage. Although he is indifferent on the surface, he is very concerned about Feng Lin's background, that is, his father, a miracle doctor. The medical skills are simply excellent. If he can get this person, he will surely live another 10 years. At first I wasn't in a hurry. But my son told me that the granddaughter of Wei Shanlin of the Wei family in Jiangbai was also engaged to Feng Lin. The Wei family must not be allowed to stay with Feng Lin's father. Wow. Grandpa. Who was this? At this moment, a young man with permed hair ran from a distance. He looks quite handsome and is wearing a black earring in his left ear. When he arrived at Sakam's inn, his eyes were dumbfounded. Son, he's a man. Ren Yunqiao came from a distance and grabbed the young man. He is 2 years younger than Wen Renxi and his name is Wen Renyang. Shit. When Renyang reached out to touch Sakam Jin's neck, trying to identify his Atom's apple. But Fen Lin grabbed his hand. Brother, this friend of mine is Misophobia. Who are you? When Renyang shook off Fen Lin's hand and said viciously. When Renpen shouted angrily, this is Fen Lin, your future brother-in-law. What? You're my sister's fiancé. When Renyang looked at Fen Lin carefully and couldn't help but shake his head. It's a pity that my sister is marrying you. At this moment, Sakam Jin suddenly looked at Fen Lin. Fen Lin shook his head slightly, he had already figured it out. Divine Aperture Realm, and there are 2 of them. As expected, there are people from the 9 Nethers here. When Renyang. Don't be presumptuous. Apologize to your brother-in-law. When Renpen frowned. Dad. You also know Zhao Yang's temperament. He is frank. Ren Yunqiao said next to him. Chapter 252. This is called smashing. No need to apologize. Fen Lin waved his hand. The master of the divine realm had already arrived. If nothing else happens, the security guard who was notified will arrive soon. Haha, Fen Lin, it's not that simple if you want me to call you brother-in-law. When Renyang leaned over and looked at Sakam Jin again. He really didn't understand. How can someone be so beautiful? When Renyang, get out of here right now. This is your brother-in-law's friend, don't be presumptuous. When Renpen said indifferently. Although he did not pay attention to the young man in front of him. But no matter how arrogant he was, he would not dare to offend the Secret Legion. There are many masters inside, and the most famous one should be Li Pa-Chang. It is rumored that the other party has entered the divine realm. TCH. When Renyang pursed his lips and turned to leave. Ren Yunqiao hurriedly followed and grabbed Wen Renyang's hand. Son, the cosmetics you gave me last time were out of stock. Ask your friends to buy some more. At this time, a security guard from a distance ran over and said respectfully. Old master. Someone outside said they wanted to see you and they barged in very arrogantly. Shit. Who the hell dares to break into our Wenren family? They are looking for death. When Renyang was worried that he had nowhere to get angry, so he immediately went out for a walk. Ren Yunqiao also followed his son. Seeing this, Fen Lin stood up and said, Old man, those people must be here. Haha, it's just an offer to sell the first one. I'll go take a look. When Renpen looked calm, took a piece of snack and stuffed it into his mouth, walked towards the front yard. Fen Lin helplessly hugged Sakam Jin's shoulders, quickly follow me. Although this old man is pretending, he looks pretty good to others. Wait a moment, just in time to touch Jin Ki, Sakam Jin said expressionlessly. I'll listen to you, but don't endanger the old man's life. Fen Lin said helplessly and followed him from a distance. And front yard. There are 2 people standing here. One of them was the man who was next to Lian Dai before, he had half-white hair and a dull expression. The other was a short, muscular middle-aged man who appeared to be only 1.6 meters tall. Bao Yuan, I hope you don't play tricks on me. We all have the right to know the news. The short middle-aged man had cold eyes. His name is Ma Yuan and he is the 22nd Isha of the 3rd sect. But Balian is the 20 Disha of the second sect, and in terms of strength, he is not as good as Balian. Stop talking nonsense. Our goal is to find the location of 25, and then we will all rely on our own abilities. Balian crossed his arms and said expressionlessly, "Who the hell are you? How dare you come to our wedded family to act arrogantly?" Wen Renyan shouted loudly from a distance. With him was his mother, Ren Yongqiao. Ren Yongqiao looked at the two people in front of him, with a trace of disdain at the corner of his mouth. Fen Lin came to report earlier. He thought it was a large army pressing the border, but now it seemed like there were only two people. What the hell? When Runrun's masters heard that someone had broken in and appeared one after another, surrounding Balian and Moyuan. Why so slow? Didn't I just say that? Let the person in charge of your family come out. Moyuan waved his hand to the side. The body of an old man was sent flying and fell heavily to the ground, blood gushing from his mouth. Wen Renyan was originally ready to scold him, but when he saw this, he was so scared that he fainted. These two people turned out to be teachers. Ren Yongqiao also nodded secretly. It seemed that these people still had some strength. Fen Lin came here to report the news, which can be considered intentional. If the old man is not at home, it will definitely be a big blow to the Wen family. And Jin transforms. His strength is quite good. Wen Renpen stood with his hands behind his back and walked over with a calm expression. No wonder the country's secret legion has been dispatched. It turns out that it has the realm of transformation. However, it is not enough to be a teacher. Are you in charge here? Moyuan looked at Wen Renpen and asked with a smile. That's right. I'm Wen Renpen. You two beat me, Wen Renpen, for no reason and bullied my family. Wen Renpen growled with an arrogant look on his face. Seeing his grandfather come in, Wen Renyan swelled again, pointed at the two people in front of him, and cursed. Trash. Kneel before me. Balian frowned slightly. He didn't want to waste time here. If he took something from the third sect, he would be absolutely safe. What he feared was that other sects would come to take it away from him. Then the chances will be slim. Wen Renpen, help us and we can save your life. Balian walked forward and took out his mobile phone. You only have 1 day to find this person's whereabouts. How dare you? Why are you talking to my dad? What are you talking about? Ren Yongqiao shouted coldly. Fen Lin was right. These people are here to do business. Haha. Who do you think you are? Is this a pleading tone? Wen Renpen stood up with his hands behind his back, raised his head and said, kneel down and beg me. I can consider it. These people were arrogant. And Wen Renpen didn't bother to be polite to them. Fen Lin and Sakam Jin, who were watching silently from a distance, looked at each other helplessly. Kneel down and beg you. Who do you think you are? Moyuan walked towards Wen Renpen. Wen Renpen showed a calm expression and stepped on the ground. Light and darkness resonate. Bullet. Bullet. The power of the Grandmaster exploded. Wen Renyan is also an ancient warrior, but he is currently only in the early Minjin stage. When he saw his grandfather using his power, he himself became arrogant. You two trash, do you know what this means? As Wen Renyan spoke, Moyuan had already arrived in front of Wen Renpen. Oh. Wen Renpen burst out forcefully and appeared behind Moyuan in an instant. But he didn't expect that as soon as he landed, a slap on his face came. It was as if the other party knew that he was going to appear here. Boom. The terrifying force directly knocked down Wen Renpen, sliding on the grass for more than 10 meters before stopping. Everyone around him was shocked. What is the situation? Wen Renyan was also going to explain to them what the light and darkness resonance was. Now he swallowed his words. This was the first time he saw his grandfather being beaten. Ren Yongqiao also looked at him in horror. Could it be that he accidentally made a mistake? Good. It must be that. Wen Renpen made a mistake. Wen Renpen wiped the corners of his mouth and found bloodstains on his hands, and his eyes suddenly became cold. Boom. The grass collapsed and his figure rose, landing next to Moyuan in the blink of an eye. Kneel before my. Moyuan didn't even make a move this time. Wen Renpen felt as if there was a huge rock in his body. Boom. He suddenly fell to his knees on the ground. Not only that, he couldn't even stand upright and was lying on the grass. Boom. Moyuan kicked Wen Renpen in front of him, spit out blood, and flew backwards. It happened to hit Wen Renyang's body. Hit the ground with it. Ren Yongqiao was stunned. It was an accident once, but what happens this time? He could see that this was called smashing. Even a layman can see it, so the ancient warriors here must be the same. The person in front of me is an extremely expert. Who was your excellency? Wen Renpen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stood up tremblingly. What qualifications do you have to ask me questions? Follow our instructions and do things well, otherwise, I will kill you all. Ma Yuan's eyes became colder. Call. An orange light flashed in his eyes. Seeing this light, Wen Renpen was scared. Chapter 253 I only know that this girl is crazy. Wen Renpen was so scared that his breathing became rapid and his body trembled. Divine Orifice. The legendary Divine Realm. Not only him, but also the many masters behind him were too scared to breathe. No wonder playing Wen Renpen is like playing. In front of him is the Divine Orifice Realm. What a slap. As an ancient warrior, Wen Renyan naturally knew what the Divine Orifice represented. This is a completely different area. Even outside the category of ordinary people, let alone a Grand Master, even if you're in the realm of 10 Great Masters, you can't even think about meeting others. At this moment, Ren Yunqiao thought of Fen Lin. The other party said that the person this time was very powerful, but she didn't believe it. I didn't expect to be slept. He looked back for Fen Lin, but he was nowhere to be seen. As he already escaped. Wen Renpen thought the same thing. Perhaps Fen Lin came to him to let him escape temporarily. Everyone kneel down. What do you want me to ask? Bao Yan's voice was cold and he walked over with his mobile phone. Hit. Wen Renyan was the first to kneel, having scolded him so harshly just now. If he was killed, what would he cry to? Fen Lin in the distance gently patted Si Kongjin on the shoulder, indicating that he could go out. This can be regarded as a face of Wen Renpen. After all, he is an old man. If Si Kongjin made another move after kneeling, he would feel resentful. Si Kongjin nodded slightly and walked away. Brush. Just when everyone was desperate, a beautiful person appeared next to Bao Yan. Take away the phone. The other teachers who learned about this family originally planned to kneel. Suddenly they found a person appearing out of nowhere and stopped one after another. When Renpen's pupil suddenly shrank, he looked around, and didn't even know how Si Kongjin appeared. You there, Aunt Si Kongjin. Bao Yan's expression changed drastically and he immediately retreated. Si Kongjin put his cell phone in his pocket and took out his white gloves. Oh. Si Kongjin obviously looked soft and petite, she was only 1.7 meters tall. But the offensive of the battle can be described as violent. Boom. As he ran, the ground shook and shattered with each kick. Brush. Si Kongjin rushed towards Bao Yan, his eyes filled with green light. He grabbed Bao Yan with one claw. Bao Yan did not react in time at all and there were 5 deep wounds, visible to the bone, in front of his body. He groaned in pain and immediately retreated towards Ma Yuan. Let's go together and finish him off. The sect leader will definitely reward us. Ma Yuan clenched his fists and rushed towards Si Kongjin. But Bao Yan just ran away. Bao Yan. You. Paralysis. When Ma Yuan ran out, it was already too late to retreat. He could only grit his teeth and punch Si Kongjin. Click. It's like hitting an egg against a stone. There was a cracking sound throughout his arm. Ah. Ma Yuan's arms fell like noodles. Shout. Si Kongjin's whip leg made a sound of breaking wind. He hit Ma Yuan in the neck. Boom. The entire earth was shaken violently and a large circular pit sank into the ground. Si Kongjin stepped on the back of Ma Yuan's head, crouched down, and pierced Ma Yuan's arm with a dagger. He then stepped on the tip of the dagger, stood up straight, and looked in Fen Lin's direction. Everything was extremely quiet. You can hear the needle drop. Everyone was stunned. Looking at the devastation everywhere, you didn't even realize what happened just now. This is too scary. Because his fighting speed is very fast, in the eyes of ordinary people, it happens between lightning and flint. This kind of battle is completely beyond his imagination. Fen Lin trotted out from the distance. Ma Yuan was still struggling, but when he saw Fen Lin appear, he became desperate. He took out the headphones from his coat pocket and roared. The second sect is against me. Bao Yan is against me. The god of the 9 netherworlds is with me. Click. Ma Yuan slapped his forehead hard with his other hand. Si Kongjin lowered his head and left Ma Yuan's body. He took out Bao Yan's cell phone from his pocket and handed it to Fen Lin. Fen Lin looked at the photo on his phone. He was a middle-aged man with a square face. He looked very thin and had a scar at the corner of his left eye. This person should be the 25th Disha. Fen Lin took a photo of his mobile phone. When Ren Yunqiao saw the corpse in front of him, he suddenly felt a little nauseous and turned around to flee. When Ren Yan was still kneeling on the ground at this time, he also wanted to get up, but his legs did not obey him and he couldn't get up at all. When Renpen was still knowledgeable and said to the people behind him, "Take him down." Yeah. An old man grabbed Wen Renyang's arm and led him away. Fen Lin checked his phone, but there was nothing on it. There is only one number without notes and this number has several call records. He called to see who was on the other end. "How's it going? Did you find it?" Came a familiar voice from the other side. "Is it Jody?" Fen Lin took the phone and walked away. "Yeah, Fen Lin. So you know we're going to sniff someone out." Lianda gasped in anger and shouted, "I am your mother. You can only use your words." Fen Lin was not angry. He smiled and said, "You haven't even grown your hair yet and you're still playing with me. I'm your grandmother. I'm your ancestor, huh? Are you okay?" Lianda was scolding the other side. Then, there was a sudden pause. It was obvious that Balian had arrived. Then, Lianda said coldly, "Fen Lin, sooner or later you will kneel in front of me and beg me to let you go." After that, he hung up the phone. Fen Lin used his mobile phone to remember this number. Si Kongjin took out Marion's headphones, walked over and said, "Hang up." "Hey." Fen Lin said and looked at Wen Renpen next to him. "Let someone bury him, even if he is an enemy, he can be considered a hero." "Yeah." Wen Renpen reacted almost instinctively, but then he felt something was wrong. He blushed and coughed a few times. "Bury this person." "Yeah." Several people came from behind. An ancient warrior. They secretly glanced at Sakamjin and immediately looked away. They didn't know that Sakamjin was a man. "All I know is that this girl is crazy. It's absolutely amazing. That kind of open, hand-to-hand fighting style seems too violent." After everyone else left, Wen Renpen held her hand in an unusually respectful manner. He saw him during the fight just now. This young man is also in the divine realm. And it is no ordinary divine orifice. They are both divine orifices, so beating the other two is the same as playing. "Sir, I'm sorry for bragging in front of you just now, please forgive me." Wen Renpen said with an apologetic smile. "Yes," Sakamjin said only one word before taking off his white gloves and throwing them into the trash can far away. "Old man, this expert is also an important figure in the Hidden Legion. He is usually very cold," Fen Lin explained from the side. "Master, I understand," Wen Renpen asked in a low voice. "Fen Lin, what is your relationship with that guy? We grew up together as children, so he had a kinder attitude towards me." Fen Lin explained with a smile. Okay. Wen Renpen nodded repeatedly and must let Feng Lin take care of his granddaughter. Now it seems that Father Fen Lin, a miracle doctor, is no longer important. This is the legendary divine realm. Why should a master like this from the Jiangbai family sit there? Are they still not allowed to kneel? By the way, help us control this person immediately. It is very important to us. Fen Lin handed Wen Renpen the photo on his phone. "Okay. I'll let someone do it." Wen Renpen looked at Sakamjin and said respectfully, "Sir, please come with me. I will find a place for you to rest." Fen Lin nodded towards Sakamjin and joined in. Keep up the rhythm." In the distance they saw Wen Renyang. He approached cautiously. "P.S. It's been a long time since I requested support. Brothers, please give me more support if you have nothing to do. Only then can I motivate myself to code." Chapter 254. Who was this man? Wen Renyang did not dare to look directly at Sakamjin now. He lowered his head and stood there as if he were walking on thin ice. Judging from Sakamjin's fighting style, he must be a violent person. He was so rebellious just now. What if he was killed? "Senior, I'm sorry. I was rude just now. I apologize." Wen Renyang's voice trembled after this battle. Only then did he sense how powerful this beauty's aura was. "Do not be nervous." Fen Lin smiled, hugged Sakamjin's shoulders and looked at Wen Renyang. "Be more polite from now on. Why don't you thank your brother-in-law?" Wen Renpen knew this. That Fen Lin was coming down the stairs for his grandson, he said immediately. "Yes. Thank you, brother-in-law. Thank you, brother-in-law." Wen Renyang nodded repeatedly. He didn't dare to think that his brother-in-law actually knew a master in the divine realm. Who dares to mess with this from now on? "Old man, my friend and I are going to take a walk by the lake. You should help us find this person as soon as possible." Fen Lin looked at Wen Renpen and said. "Okay. I'll do it right now." Wen Renyang took the photo and turned to leave. Fen Lin and Sakamjin walked towards the small gate again and arrived at the lake. "Fourth, how do you think Jia Land is brainwashed?" Fen Lin held the back of his head and looked at the lake in the distance. "I don't know, maybe there are reasons." Sakamjin shook his head slightly. Fen Lin smiled bitterly and sat on the recliner next to him. As long as he could catch the evil spirit now, he could understand the reason. Not long after, Ren Yunqiao walked over with the drink, only to find Fen Lin lying on a chair and Sakamjin standing next to him. Fen Lin, Yui Ren Yun Kiao was about to say something when she noticed Si Kong Jin's gaze. She looked embarrassed and said, "Are you drinking, baby?" Fen Lin stood up with a smile and caught the drinks. Ren Yun Kiao nodded with a smile, turned around and left immediately. After a while, he asked Wen Renyan to bring the white recliner in person. "Senior brother-in-law, you can do whatever you want." Wen Renyan was very respectful. "Would you like to drink too?" Fen Lin invited. "I won't, I have something to do here." Wen Renyan didn't dare to drink with him, so he apologized and left. Fen Lin and Sakam Jin were lying here, drinking wine and enjoying a short period of silence. Fen Lin's plan was to go to the local police station at dusk before Wen Renpen could investigate. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Wen Renpen hurriedly arrived. He held the mobile phone in his hand and walked up to Sakam Jin. "Sir, please see, 10 days ago, this person went to bars in KTV." Fen Lin got up from his seat, walked over and looked at the screen. Sure enough, it was the man with the square face. "Since we know where he has been, can't we find him based on his trajectory?" Fen Lin asked from the side. "It's strange to say that I saw him enter both places, but he never came out." When Renpen was a little helpless, he should have left from other places or left in disguise. Fen Lin, touching his chin, nodded secretly. "Now it seems the only way is to go in person. Old man, continue searching." Fen Lin looked at Wen Renpen and said, "Okay." Wen Renpen told them the address and turned to leave. Fen Lin picked up the wine bottle next to him and drank the wine inside. "Fourth, one each." "Where are you going?" "KTV," Sikam Jin said. "Okay. Then I'll go to the bar." Fen Lin looked at the direction of the hotel, put his hands in his pants pockets, and walked there leisurely. It took Fen Lin about half an hour to reach the bar called Tubers. It was already getting dark and the crowd was starting to increase, but it still wasn't the best time of the night. Fen Lin was about to enter when he heard someone calling him and turned around strangely. "I saw Wen Ning driving a tram. He got out of the car with 2 portions of stewed chicken. Beauty, I suspect you are following me now, right?" Fen Lin walked over with a smile. "Who's following you?" Wen Ning rolled his eyes, but also marveled at the fate between the two. "The city is so big that we can find it twice in one day." "Are you going to the bar?" Wen Ning asked strangely. "Yes," Fen Lin nodded. "You don't want to be a bastard, do you?" Wen Ning always felt guilty, thinking that it was her fault that made Fen Lin change. "I'll go in and have a drink." "Why am I a scumbag?" Fen Lin smiled and waved his hand. "Stop drinking. This is my last order. I'll treat you to a drink later." Wen Ning walked to the bar with the stewed chicken. Fen Lin followed Wen Ning and asked with a smile, "When ordering at the bar, did you do it on purpose?" "I already guessed who it was." Wen Ning smiled wryly and walked in. Fen Lin followed Wen Ning to the bar. The manic music was not playing at that time and people gathered drinking and chatting. As soon as Wen Ning entered, a woman stood up from the corner, smiled, snapped her fingers, and shouted, "Wen Ning, here." Wen Ning took a deep breath and walked over with a smile. Fen Lin followed Wen Ning. There are several young men and women sitting here, all dressed in famous brands and looking like children from rich families. The woman I'd greeted earlier had long hair with bangs. With the help of makeup, she looks beautiful. He looked around with a smile and left. "Look, are you here?" Everyone around him smiled and nodded. "Screaming here." "Queen Man, I have already delivered the things. I have to go to work, so I will leave first." Wen Ning put the stewed chicken on the table, turned around and left with a smile. "Stop. Wen Ning, you're here, why are you leaving?" Queen Man pointed to the empty seat next to him and said with a smile, "If you don't give me face, I will give you a bad review." "That's right, Wen Ning." Queen Man receives an order with 2 people's mobile phones. If they both say there are flies in your store at the same time, a yellow-haired youth next to him threatened him with a smile. Wen Ning's face was a little ugly. "I still have some takeaway to deliver, and they will leave a bad review if I am late. Looking at the stores, open in the future, who will dare to do it online? Buy it." Queen Man took out her phone with a sneer. Fen Lin next to him was surprised. He originally thought that Wen Ning was just a waiter or the boss's daughter. Unexpectedly, she opened its door herself. "Queen Man, I didn't provoke you, what are you doing to me?" Wen Ning frowned in displeasure. "Who targeted you?" "You didn't give me face," Queen Man said with a smile. "How do you think Mr. Liu was not worthy of you? How can you open a store when you are Mr. Liu's girlfriend?" Sitting next to Queen Man, the man in a suit raised the wine glass with a smile. He had a smooth complexion and was somewhat handsome. He said softly, "Wen Ning, today's my birthday, so sit down and have a few drinks with me." Liu Yuzhen, Didn't I tell you? We can't be together, why are you bothering me? Wen Ning sighed. Why is it impossible? I just like people like you. Those vulgar fans are very different from you, Liu Zhen stood up and said. The people around shouted again, cheering and cheering from the side. Promise. Promise. Wen Ning's face became more and more ugly. He couldn't help but look at Fen Lin and finally took his arm. Let's go. Stop. Liu Zhen said sharply, who is it? This man. Chapter 255. Going sideways. Wen Ning cast a pleading look at Fen Lin and then said, Fen Lin, tell him, who am I? Fen Lin turned around and said calmly, I am Wen Ning's second uncle. Wheel. Fuck. Wen Ning couldn't help but curse and then said coldly, yes, he is the person my second uncle introduced me to. Wen Ning. This man seems normal, how can he be worthy of you? Liu Zhen pointed at Fen Lin, his face full of disdain. Brother, I don't like hearing this anymore. At least I'm taller and more handsome than you. Fen Lin knew roughly what happened. Generally speaking, this rich man fell in love with Wen Ning and invited her, but she didn't come. Finally, they asked Wen Ning to come and order food. Who the hell do you think you are? You're only a little taller than Mr. Liu, and Mr. Liu was much more handsome than you. The key is that Mr. Liu was rich. Wow, even stupid. A guy like you can be a security guard. Several young men drinking nearby laughed at him. Liu Zhen came from a prominent family and was even richer in Gu City. Wen Ning let go of Fen Lin's hand and walked up to Liu Zhen. Happy birthday to Mr. Liu. After saying that, he turned around, took Fen Lin's hand and prepared to leave. Stop for me. Ground with a wine glass in his hand, pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. The originally noisy atmosphere suddenly became quiet. Most of the people are regular visitors here, so they naturally know Liu Zhen. This man is a big shot and can't be offended. At this time, a beautiful woman came from a distance. With a long skirt, a plump figure, and a slight smile on her face, she looked at the blooming flowers. Isn't today her birthday? Why are you angry? This woman is the boss here and her name is Sister Hong. In Gushi, Jiangnan, she is considered a famous social butterfly. I know many outstanding people. Sister Hong, that man stole the woman I like from me. Liu Zhen pointed at Fen Lin and shouted. Everyone looking around looked at Fen Lin with great surprise. This man didn't want to waste any more time and dared to steal the woman Liu Zhen was interested in. Wen Ning patted Fen Lin on the shoulder with a smile. You have nothing to do here, you can go. After saying that, he turned to Liu Zhen with a smile and said, this man is just my new employee. I'm here to deal with you, and since Mr. Liu invited me, I can't refuse. As he spoke, secretly winked at Fen Lin and told him to leave quickly. How could Fen Lin leave? This boss just appeared and was here to ask about things. Then Fen Lin walked to the boss here. Hong and Wen Ning are in the same straight line. Fen Lin was walking towards Sister Hong. To outsiders, Fen Lin was walking towards Wen Ning. Even Wen Ning herself felt that Fen Lin, an honest man, wanted to save her. He grabbed Fen Lin's arm and whispered, didn't I let you go? Why are you being stupid right now? No, I'm looking for the boss here. Fen Lin pointed to Hong. In the distance, sister. You're too honest. Don't you see that Sister Huang is also on his side? Wen Ning pushed Fen Lin and walked towards Liu Zhen. I want to leave, but there's no way. Liu Zhen patted the table. Haha, Mr. Liu, don't be angry. Sister Huang smiled slightly, waved her hand gently, pointed at Fen Lin and said, the security guard invited this handsome boy to have a drink upstairs. It is better to dissolve enemies than to dissolve enemies to finish them off. Leave this matter to me. Yes. Several security guards in the distance blocked Fen Lin's path and grabbed Fen Lin by the shoulders. Brother, let's go up. When everyone around saw this, they all knew. Sister Huang sounds good, but she is actually being biased. In a deserted place, I don't know what suffering this child will suffer. However, most of the people feel that Fen Lin deserves it. First of all, Liu Zhen was not to be bothered. If he kicked the steel plate, he would naturally have to pay the price. Fen Lin originally wanted to resist, but he needed to keep a low profile when looking for the evil spiritist. Follow that two security guards and walk to the second floor. This Sister Huang will definitely come to see me and it won't be too late to ask him. Then Wen Ning saw Fen Lin being taken away and she immediately followed him. Sister Huang didn't stop her. This kind of thing is not easy to solve when there are many people. His original plan was to close the door and let the parties involved resolve the matter by themselves. Two security guards took Fen Lin to a room on the second floor, where the sound insulation was very good. Upon entering and closing the door, the sound of the outside world was instantly cut off. This should be specially designed. After all, the sound of bars and clubs at night is too loud. Fen Lin looked at the place and found that it was well decorated, similar to the living room of a villa. There are also several famous wines placed on the sofa, television, and cabinet in the distance. Soon after, the door opened and Wen Ning walked in. She came in and scolded her. "You stupid. I just asked you to leave, why don't you leave?" "Because I want you to own me. My current crisis is because of you. Let's see how you pay for it. Later." Fen Lin sat on the sofa casually, crossing his legs. Wen Ning pointed at Fen Lin, not knowing what to say. She lowered her head and asked in a low voice, "Did you break up with your girlfriend?" "Why do you say that?" Fen Lin asked. "After you broke up with her, you wanted to chase me, right?" Wen Ning grabbed her hair helplessly. "You think too much. I didn't even like that rich man right now. Do you think I would like it? It is an honest person." Haha. Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. This woman is a bit interesting. "Forget it, they will arrive in a while. Do not say anything. Leave it all to me." Wen Ning clenched her fists and took a deep breath. "I'd better first find a way to send Fen Lin away safely." Not long after, the door opened. Sister Huang walked in with several security guards. Behind them was the Liu Zhan's group. Just now seeing them come in, Wen Ning immediately took Fen Lin's hand and pulled him up from the sofa. "All the owners have already arrived. You, a stranger, are sitting on the sofa cross-legged. Very arrogant." "Haha, Mr. Liu, sit down." Sister Huang looked at Liu Zhan with a smile. Liu Zhan sat on the sofa cross-legged and looked at Fen Lin indifferently. Until now, Fen Lin and Wen Ning were still holding hands. "Sister Huang, I came here to give you face. Since you said that this matter can be solved, I want to see how you solve it." Liu Zhan took out a box of yellow crane tower from his pocket and put one to his mouth. "Light it with a lighter." "Haha, Mr. Liu doesn't care about the faults of others. If you hurt this handsome boy, your reputation will not be good." Sister Huang walked towards Fen Lin on the walkway and put her hand on Fen Lin's shoulder. "Handsome boy, why don't you admit your mistake to the young master?" "Liu, do you admit your mistake? Do you think I'm so easy to talk to?" Liu Zhan took a long drag on his cigarette. "Kneel down and admit your mistake, okay? Mr. Liu, just give me some face for Sister Huang." Sister Huang smiled and winked at Fen Lin. "Handsome little boy, Sister Huang will give you a chance. Kneel down anyway. We are all our own people here, there is nothing to be ashamed of." Chapter 256. It's not too much to ask you to kneel. Fen Lin was originally here to work and planned to finish work early and go back to sleep with his fourth child. However, he is no longer sleepy when he encounters this kind of thing. "Do you want me to kneel?" Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and said with a slight smile. "What? Don't you think Sister Huang has fought enough for you? We are all our own people here, and it is not shameful to kneel. Are you going to let Mr. Liu knock you to the ground in public?" Sister Huang smiled. She grabbed Fen Lin's arm and said, "Hurry up and obey." Wen Ning looked at Liu Zhan smoking on the sofa, walked over and said, "Young Master Liu, you are really innocent. Let it go." Kui Mengzi, the man next to him, laughed and said, "Wen Ning, how can you ask for help like this? You also know what Liu Shao wants to do. If you agree to be friends with Liu's girl, you will win. Isn't this over?" Ha ha ha. Fen Lin looked at Wen Ning nervously and embarrassedly. With an expression on his face, he left. Wen Ning rolled his eyes. "It's about time, but you can still, little handsome boy, why are you laughing?" Sister Huang asked strangely. "I didn't care about you guys at first, but now I want to see what it looks like to make you kneel." Fen Lin said with a slight smile. "You're crazy. Are you asking us to kneel? Do you know who Mr. Liu is?" Kui Meng sneered disdainfully. "Interesting. Every time I see these ants jumping in front of me, I get very happy." Liu Zhan threw the cigarette on the ground and stomped on it several times. "Sister Huang, I don't care about your face now. I gave it." "Look," Sister Huang looked at Fen Lin helplessly. "By the way, when you kneel, you can't be here. I want you to kneel before me outside in front of so many people." Fen Lin smiled, took Wen Ning's hand and walked out the door. All the remaining people here looked at Fen Lin sympathetically. This boy must have been very scared. "Do you want to run?" Liu Zhan stood up and said to the bodyguard next to him, "Stop him." Fen Lin just opened the door and the loud sounds from outside came instantly. He stood on the second floor, looking in the distance. Sure enough, I saw an acquaintance Wen Renyan just now when he was in the room. He thought of someone from the early stage of Minjin, which should be Wen Renyang. As soon as Fen Lin came out, the bodyguard behind him rushed over and grabbed Fen Lin's shoulders. Boom. As soon as the other party's hand touched Fen Lin greeted him. Slightly and the security guard fell from the second floor. It hit the table below and all the wine bottles shattered. The fragments pierced the man's back, and he let out a roar of pain and rolled off the table. Suddenly, he attracted everyone's attention, including Wen Yang. Today he was scared and was going to come here to relax. Unexpectedly, I saw Fen Lin here. After careful observation, he found that the big shot had not arrived, and Wen Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Brother-in-law. He greeted Fen Lin from a distance and ran towards him quickly. Make sure you compliment him appropriately. This is what his grandfather told him. In fact, without him having to say it, Wen Yang also knew what the divine orifice realm represented. All the people looking down looked towards the second floor. Everyone couldn't believe that Wen Yang actually knew that man. That being said, there is a sight to see. Discovering that a security guard had been kicked out, the remaining security guards immediately rushed over and prepared to use force to subdue him. When Wen Yang saw him here, his body accelerated and he roared angrily. You are looking for death. Who dares to touch my brother-in-law? The security guard turned around and realized that the person coming was Wen Yang and me. And he was so scared that he stopped immediately. This is the young man not to be bothered with Ngashi. Compared to him, Liu Zhen inside is nothing. Young people are weird. Two security guards immediately stood here respectfully. I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to fuck you. Wen Yang showed no mercy and kicked each of them from the second floor. Everyone in the second floor room also followed him. When Sister Huang saw Wen Yang, she immediately showed a flattering smile. Young Master Wen Yang, what kind of wind brought you here today? Brother-in-law, are you okay? Wen Yang didn't even look at Sister Huang, but turned to Fen Lin, smiled ingratiatingly. Brother-in-law. The faces of everyone on Sister Huang's side changed dramatically. The man in front of me is actually related to the Wen family. I heard that this family is the only family with financial resources in the entire country. In Jiangnan, it is even more powerful. Something is wrong. Fen Lin said coldly. Hearing this, Sister Huang sighed in her heart. It's over. As for Liu Zhen's face, which is pale as a sheet, he belongs to a wealthy family in Jiangnan. But how can you compare a rich family with a hidden family? These people just wanted me to kneel. I was so scared that I almost kneeled. Fen Lin pointed at Liu Zhen with a look of grievance. Damn. Wen Yang walked over and slapped Liu Zhen in the face. Boom. As an ancient warrior, this force directly took down Liu Zhen. Wen Yang grabbed Liu Zhen by the hair and dragged him towards Fen Lin. Who the hell do you think you are? If you ask my brother-in-law to kneel, aren't you going to slap me in Wen's face? Blood came from the corner of Liu Zhen's mouth. He didn't expect that. The young man in front of him actually knew Wen Yang, a playboy. If he knew that Fen Lin knew Wen Yang, he wouldn't dare provoke him even if he had 10 courage. Brother-in-law, what should I do with this person? Wen Yang looked at Fen Lin and asked. They scared me and asked me to kneel. I asked them to kneel. Isn't it too much? Fen Lin said with a smile. Of course it's not too much. It's an advantage for them. Wen Yang let go of Liu Zhen and looked at the people next to him. Everyone kneeled down. Apologize to my brother-in-law. Queen was the first. Run knelt with a plop. His family's ability to enter the ranks of the rich depends on Wen's family. Because his father's sponsor was a security guard for Wen's family. For some people, security is a low-level profession. But it also depends on who works as a security guard. Working as a security guard for Wen's family is different. There were several occasions when the deal did not come to fruition, and it was ended with just a word from the security guard. Spare my life. Lord, I am blind to sight. Wenning, please forgive me. I know I was wrong. Queen's face was full of fear. If his father knew that he had done something to offend Wen, he might have his legs broken. Liu Zhen lowered his head, his eyes filled with murderous intent. This cute boy would be nothing if it weren't for Wen Ranjia. But now, if he doesn't kneel, the consequences will be disastrous. He could only kneel down and lower his head. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Seeing Liu Zhen kneel, the group of people he led followed him. So far, there is only one person left who was not kneeling. That's Sister Huang. He took cat steps and approached Fen Lin with a smile on his face. Sir, I hate you. You're a great man, but you didn't tell me before. Sister Huang, according to Wen Yang's temperament, I will definitely tell you. I will give you a good beating, but I will give you a chance and I will kneel. Fen Lin looked at Sister Huang with a cold face. Anyway, there are not many people here, there is nothing to be ashamed of. Sister Huang's expression changed and a smile soon appeared on her face. He knelt in front of Fen Lin, raised his head and blinked. People are like this, should they forgive me? Chapter 257. Sister Hong Fenlin's eyes moved slightly. This woman was not bad. He seemed to be thriving in Gu City. If a person is shameless, he is invincible. He can kneel on the ground as if he were joking. To outsiders, it seems like he's just playing around. As for Wen Ning, who was staying next to Fen Lin, she was completely scared. From the beginning until now, he has been hiding next to Fen Lin and trembling. She didn't know Wen Ren Yang and Liu Zhan was already considered the most untouchable person in front of her. I didn't expect there to be a stronger one. He slapped Liu Zhan so hard that he didn't even dare to fight back. He suddenly started, as if he had thought of something. This person's name is brother-in-law Fen Lin. Could it be that the woman I saw at noon today is this person's sister? Everyone, get up, Fen Lin said calmly. Sister Huang got up first and stood next to Fen Lin with a smile. It feels like one of me. Liu Zhan and others also lowered their heads and stood up quietly, for fear that the people on the first floor would see their faces. This is a permanent blackhead. No matter how great the person is in the future, someone will always mention it behind his back, that is, he was once afraid to the point of kneeling before others. Liu Zhan didn't want this kind of black spot to accompany him for the rest of his life. The only way to remove blackheads is to make this person disappear forever. What is your name? Fen Lin asked, pointing at Liu Zhan. Brother-in-law, your name is Liu Zhan, you are considered a rich family in Gu City. Wen Renyang explained with a smile. I didn't ask you, Fen Lin shouted softly. Liu Zhan. Okay, do you seem dissatisfied? Kneel again. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked over with a smile on his face. Not only him, but everyone in the audience also took out their mobile phones. Liu Zhan was going to embarrass himself today. Liu Zhan's fingers turned white because he clenched his fist so tightly. He took a deep breath and knelt before Fen Lin again. Go away, it's boring. Kneel down if I ask you. You were so crazy just now and I still expected you to resist. Fen Lin waved his hand with a smile. Everyone was relieved when they heard this. They all rolled and crawled away. Liu Zhan also turned around and ran downstairs. His eyes were now chillingly cold. This hatred. You must report it. It's none of your business. I'll talk to the boss here. Fen Lin greeted Wen Ren Yang. Anyway, thank you for helping me. Brother-in-law, please tell me. Wen Ren Yang walked downstairs with a smile. The farce is over and the music here begins little by little. People started chatting again. I'm so envious. I wonder if this friend is Wen Ren Yang's brother-in-law. That's a big star, Wen Renxi. I don't believe it. Look, he and Sister Huang went to the second floor room. No. Do something. I don't think so. Yes, since he is a brother-in-law, how can a man like Wen Renyang watch a man betray his sister? The people below were chatting, and Fen Lin from the second floor entered the room. Wen Ning was stunned for a moment and could only follow behind Fen Lin. When the door closes, the noise from the outside world instantly disappears. Wen Ning looked at Sister Huang pouring wine in the distance and asked Fen Lin in a low voice, is that woman your sister today? No. Fen Lin shook his head. No, are you a scumbag? Wen Ning immediately stayed away from Fen Lin. It turned out he had a fiancée and was secretly dating other women. Thinking about it, he must have fallen in love with her and secretly followed her. I only saw it twice by chance. Looking at Wen Ning's nervous look, Fen Lin couldn't help but laugh. I'm an honest person. Sir, most people who claim to be honest are not. Sister Huang left with a glass of red wine in her hands, smiling. Come. Don't be polite to me. I came to see you this time for something. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and opened the photo of 25 Disha. I've needed surveillance here for 10 days to help me find this person. Sister Huang looked at the photo, her eyes a little surprised. Fen Lin caught it accurately and asked with a smile, do you know him? Sister Huang nodded. This man came to my house to drink without paying me and also injured my security guard. In the end, I calmed down. Go down and let him go. I don't believe you. I want to see the surveillance myself, Fen Lin said expressionlessly. I dare not deceive you, sir. Please come with me, sir. Sister Huang put the red wine on the table and led the way. Fen Lin patted Wen Ning on the shoulder and said, Wen Ning, if you have nothing to do, you can leave. Just be careful on the way. After saying that, Fen Lin left Sister behind. Huang. Wen Ning looked at Fen Lin's back. Could he have thought wrong? Wasn't he doing it for himself this time? Wen Ning shook his head vigorously and didn't think much about this matter. This time she assumed that those people would definitely stay with her, so they left the takeout for last. Now that the store is closed, he plans to return and rest. Fen Lin, led by Sister Hong, went to the monitoring room. Naturally, the people below also saw it and they were all extremely surprised. Facing a devious fairy like Sister Hong, this man was really able to control her. Monitoring room. The security guard is reading a novel on his mobile phone. Seeing Sister Huang come in, she immediately put away her phone and stood up respectfully. Set the monitoring of all screens to 10 days ago, Sister Huang said to the security guard here. Yeah. The security guard sat in the chair, controlled the keyboard and mouse, and set the time to 10 days ago. There are several screens in front of you, taken from different angles. At 6 in the afternoon I saw a tall man enter the bar. Fen Lin observed this man and ordered several bottles of foreign wine. After drinking, he got up and left. But several security guards stopped him and then he kicked them out. Hit the farthest pillar. The remaining security guards were stunned and remained motionless. A minute later, Sister Huang walked to the second floor. After chatting with the other party for a few minutes, Sister Huang left. The man went to the bathroom and was never seen again. Did he come back after that? Fen Lin looked at Sister Huang. Sister Huang smiled and shook her head. I was very interested in the conversation you two had just then. Fen Lin walked out. I didn't say anything. With his fighting power, I guessed that he was an ancient warrior. I will definitely give him this face, Sister Huang explained. I am a small shop here and I dare not offend such a big shop. Shot. He said what? Fen Lin asked. He said that I was very considerate and that he was very strong. He said the old man was not worthy to wear his shoes. When Sister Huang said this, she looked around and found that there was no one else. She continued, she said that I sleep with her and I am her woman. How do you answer? Fen Lin stopped and asked strangely. I said, I have a man and we love each other very much. Sister Huang took Fen Lin to the second floor room. Didn't he say he would come back? Fen Lin asked, sitting down on the sofa again. I didn't say it. Hong took the red wine next to her, smiled and sat next to Fen Lin, leaning her body close to Fen Lin. The plump figure and a deep fragrance spread across Fen Lin's body. She took the initiative to hold the red wine and handed it to Fen Lin's mouth. Fen Lin raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Don't you have a man? Are you afraid that you won't be able to control yourself if you stimulate me like this? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 258. What is he hiding? Sister Huang leaned her whole body into Fen Lin's arms. Old cows eating young grass is a kind of enjoyment. Only a man can enjoy it. Fen Lin grabbed Sister Huang's wrist and pushed her body. You woman is interesting. Is it because I know someone behind my back? No, I am a good judge of people and I always feel that you are not simple, Sister Huang whispered in Fen Lin's ear as she spit out a fragrant orchid. I don't think you are simple either. Fen Lin put her arm around Sister Huang's shoulders. She took the red wine with her other hand and drank it in one gulp. Sir, let's have a good chat tonight. Sister Huang's eyes were charming and her tone was low and hoarse. I'm going to chase that person. Leave your contact information. If the person comes to see you, call me immediately. Fen Lin stood up, took out her cell phone and said, What a pity. Sister Huang took the phone next to her, disappointment showing on her face. I will come again. Fen Lin smiled, walked out of the second floor and walked to the bathroom. Sure enough, I found a small window here, 2 meters high, and jumped out of the window. It was a small alley that was 1 meter wide. To the end and reached the old residential street. The surrounding roads are complicated and there are no cameras. Trying to find the 25 disher here is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Sister Huang has just reached the divine orifice level. And the background is not small. If Fen Lin hadn't touched the meridians on his wrist pretendingly, he wouldn't have been able to see through his cultivation even at this close distance. Do you know? Fen Lin stood here pondering and finally left immediately. It smells like people. After Fen Lin returned, the sky had turned dark. Sikon Jin returned early. Fen Lin felt the breath and headed to the small lake at the back of the mansion. Fourth, did you find anything? Fen Lin walked over and asked. No. Sikon Jin shook his head, turned around and said, he opened a room and never came out again. He probably went out through the back window. Grandpa, I feel like he did it on purpose. The purpose was to let us leave the fog behind. Fen Lin leaned back on the chair next to him, looking at the stars in the sky, and sighed lightly. What about you? Do you have any information? Sikon Jin asked. There was a mysterious woman, nicknamed Sister Hong, who was in the divine realm, but she only opens a small bar, Fen Lin murmured in a low voice. Tomorrow I plan to go to the police station, in addition to investigating this evil spirit. He also planned to check on Sister Hong. The two simply lay side by side, calm. Brother-in-law, my grandfather called me and told me that the room was ready. About half an hour later, when Ren Yang entered the small door. There's no need to bother us, we can't stay here today. Fen Lin stood up straight and said with a smile. Okay, then I'll go tell Grandpa. When Ren Yang nodded and turned and left. Wait a minute, Fen Lin suddenly shouted, who was this Sister Hong? There is something wrong with this person. I suspect that she lied to me. Sister Hong. She has been in Gu City for 5 or 6 years. She bought that bar. Yes. When Ren Yang stopped, turned around and said, she is considered a social butterfly in Gu City and has good relations with many big businessmen. Fen Lin nodded, trusting his attitude towards others. Even without this terrifying power, he is still doing well. I don't know her well. I think this kind of person is dirty. When Ren Yang spread his hands. Dirty? Fen Lin asked. It is rumored that she has had affairs with many men, including old men in their 60s. Whenever something happens to her, there are always some powerful old men by her side. When Ren Yang paused at this point. Of course this is just a rumor, I don't know the details. Well, go back first, I know everything. Fen Lin leaned back in the chair again. From Fen Lin's point of view, how could a person of his level use his body to gain superiority? Unless you do it voluntarily. It's getting stranger and stranger. Fen Lin hugged the back of his head and closed his eyes. She obviously has this kind of strength, but she kneels down so easily. What is she hiding? The divine orifice realm. It is clear that one hand can destroy one Ranjia, how can he be afraid of one Ren Yang? No, I need to meet her. Fen Lin remembered the conversation between her and Disha in the surveillance video. They talked in a corner for 3 or 4 minutes. There must be a lot of news that she didn't tell herself. Early the next morning, Fen Lin opened his eyes, looked at the mirror-like lake in the distance, stood up and stretched. Sikam Jin also opened his eyes, looked into the distance, and whispered, when will you come back? I haven't logged in for several games today. Aren't you tired of staring at the computer all day? You are here specifically, exercise. Come back in a few days. Fen Lin rolled his eyes, shook his body, and walked towards the small door. Sikam Jin stood up and followed Fen Lin. Not far from the small door was a servant. When he saw Fen Lin and Sikam Jin, he immediately ran over and said, Gentlemen, come with me to Washington. We will prepare breakfast right away. You don't have to be so polite. Fen Lin was a little helpless. He planned to move in with Sikam Jin today. Listening to people like that made him feel very uncomfortable. Fen Lin and Sikam Jin washed their faces and ate the breakfast prepared in the courtyard. When Ren Peng approached from afar, I asked people to investigate all the cameras in the past 10 days, and no trace of that person was found. Thank you, old man. We will go to the police station later to ask them for help with the investigation, Fen Lin said with a smile. Yes, but I also asked my subordinates to pay attention and report to me immediately if they found this person. When Ren Peng looked at Sikam Jin with a smile, Sir, I wonder if you can leave your contact information so we can contact you more conveniently. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. It turned out that he was trying to get the 4th child's mobile phone number. Leave it to Fen Lin, Sikam Jin said calmly. Okay. When Ren Peng was a little helpless, but he also understood that he was an expert after all and couldn't force anything. After breakfast, Fen Lin said goodbye to Ren Peng. He drove Sikam Jin to a nearby hotel. Rest here for the next few days. It will be more convenient for the two of us. Fen Lin got out of the car and walked over with Sikam Jin. Boss, I want to buy a laptop, Sikam Jin suddenly said. No. How much did I buy you? Throw it away after using it, just to play for a few days. Fen Lin walked to the hotel and said calmly. We live in a high-end room, which should have its own computer. No, it's easy to hack the hotel computer. I'm afraid of hacking the account. Sikam Jin grabbed Fen Lin's sleeve, his handsome face looking a little pitiful. If I were a woman, I think no man could say no to this face. Hey, there's really nothing we can do for you. Fen Lin said helplessly, bye. Thanks boss. An imperceptible smile appeared on Sikam Jin's face. Fen Lin and Sikam Jin stayed in a normal standard room. He asked Sikam Jin to rest here for the time being, while he planned to go to the police station first. After explaining the matter to him, buy him a computer. Sikam Jin lay here waiting, and seeing that it was almost noon, he ordered braised chicken takeaway online. About 10 minutes later, someone knocked on his door. Sikam Jin opened it and saw that it was one whom he had met before. Chapter 259 Kidnapping. Wen Ning had been very disdainful of Sakam Jin before. Later, I learned that Fen Lin originally had a fiancée and took the initiative to date this woman. He's obviously the bastard. It's okay. Wen Ning looked inside, but didn't find Fen Lin. Sakam Jin took the stewed chicken and prepared to close the door. Wait a minute, Wen Ning's feet got caught in the crack of the door and he felt like he had to tell her what happened. Let's see his reaction. If the beauty in front of him had a very dull reaction, he should know that Fen Lin had a fiancé. Continuing to stay with Fen Lin like this must be for money. To put it bluntly, the relationship between the two is just a transaction. She didn't bother to care about a couple of scumbag men and women. If this woman was deceived by Fen Lin, she must take care of it. We can't allow such a beautiful person to fall into the hands of a bastard. Do you know that Fen Lin is a fiancé? Wen Ning asked strangely. Yes, Sakam Jin nodded slightly. Then yeah, okay. Bye. Wen Ning was originally going to give him a lesson on how a man couldn't find such a beautiful woman. I just want to find someone like Fen Lin. However, I was afraid of the negative comments. After all, she is a businesswoman and is counting on this small store to save her hundreds of thousands of startup capital after she graduates. Anyway, this matter had nothing to do with her and she didn't bother to worry about it. Taking the elevator to the first floor, I saw Fen Lin approaching with a laptop bag. Damn. You must be following me. Fen Lin pointed at Wen Ning and left. He saw her 3 times in 2 consecutive days. HNPH. Wen Ning snorted coldly, bypassed Fen Lin and walked out. Fen Lin looked confused. He immediately turned around, accelerated a few steps to catch up, and stood in front of Wen Ning. What's the matter? Scum, don't talk to me. Wen Ning pouted and walked towards the boy who was next to him. Tram, open the door. I didn't provoke you, right? After all, I helped you yesterday. Fen Lin stood in front of the car and said helplessly. You helped me and I appreciate it, but you clearly have a fiancé and you still have a room with another woman. Are you worthy of your fiancé? Wen Ning pushed Fen Lin with both hands to keep him away from her car. I used to think he was an honest person and I liked him a little. Humph, there is nothing good in men. Fen Lin smiled and nodded. It turned out that Sakam Jin ordered the takeout, just in time for her to see him. You misunderstood me, but I don't want to explain. Fen Lin stretched out his hand and said, I should order one, right? I'll buy one too. This is something I have, not yours. Wen Ning got into the car and closed the door. My store does not sell garbage. After saying that, he left. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and immediately placed an order at his store. He would have to come to deliver it more afternoon. Back in the room, Fen Lin threw the notebook on the bed. I bought it for you. It's a game notebook. It cost several thousand. Thank you, boss. Sakam Jin was eating here. He raised his head and looked at Fen Lin. Do you want to eat? No, I just ordered it. Fen Lin lay on the bed next to him, watching to the roof. The local police station has been ordered to look for 25 Disha. They were also asked to investigate Sister Huang's identity and I think it won't be long before they have some clues. Couldn't wait to turn on the computer, connect to the mobile network, and start downloading the game. Fen Lin was here thinking about what to do next. Compared to 25 Disha, Sister Huang's identity must be discovered immediately and then we can go to his bar. Not long after, someone knocked on Fen Lin's door. He walked over, opened the door and found his food on the floor. Wen Ning turned around and walked away without even looking. Food on the ground. I'll give him a bad review, Fen Lin said to himself. Hearing this, Wen Ning immediately turned his head, fiercely stepped on the lotus steps and approached Fen Lin. How dare you? Good people are bullied. I didn't see you so powerful last night, you would honestly be intimidating. Fen Lin entered the room carrying the takeaway. Who bullied you? You are the one who threatened me first. Wen Ning immediately followed him and found Sakam Jin playing computer games. I'm his customer and he didn't send me a smile, so I should give him a bad review, right? Fen Lin sat down calmly. HNPH. A bad review was a bad review. Wen Ning puffed his lips viciously and turned to leave. He didn't want to say anything more to this bastard, so he walked away and closed the door on his own initiative. Arriving outside the hotel, Wen Ning turned to look at the heights of the hotel and snorted coldly, just a bad review. I already knew Fen Lin's mobile phone number to order food next time. Will not accept it again knowing he can give 2 negative reviews. Wen Ning suddenly remembered that the previous woman had also asked for one, but the other party had not commented yet. Just when he was fighting, a Buick GL8 came over. Parked next to her. After the back door opened, a strong man grabbed her arm and led her to the back row. Don't move. The strong man put a dagger in front of her neck and closed the door. From the car. The car left immediately. Who are you? Let me go. Wen-ning struggled. From the passenger seat, a young man in a suit turned around with a smile. Wen-ning, don't be nervous, it's me. Seeing this feminine man, Wen-ning's face suddenly turned pale. Liu Yuzhen, what are you doing? Don't worry. I won't do anything to you. As Liu Yuzhen spoke, a strong man behind him had already snatched Wen-ning's cell phone. What are you going to do? Wen-ning said sternly, don't think I will swallow my anger like those timid women. Unless you kill me, I will definitely call the police. I told you, this time I will talk to you. It is irrelevant, I am targeting your boyfriend, I will let him die. After what happened yesterday, Liu Yuzhen tossed and turned and couldn't sleep at all. He must avenge this revenge, he cannot wait a moment. Fen Lin. He is not my boyfriend. Wen-ning's expression gradually turned into panic. It turned out that he was seeking revenge against Fen Lin. Ultimately, this whole thing is because of her. Of course I know that he is not your boyfriend, but it doesn't matter now, Liu Yuzhen said lightly, I just want him to die now. The strong man controlling Wen-ning unlocked the phone with Wen-ning's fingerprint and handed it to Liu Yuzhen. Liu Yuzhen checked his contacts and found Fen Lin's phone number. Wen-ning, notify Fen Lin immediately and ask him to come see you. Remember, you can only come alone. Liu Yuzhen threw the phone to Wen-ning. I also want to inform him, but I don't have his contact information. He and I really just met, Wen-ning replied very cleverly. An ordinary person would never have thought that the contact information between her and Fen Lin was in the food ordering software. Then I'll give you a hard time before I find him. The car stopped in front of a villa on the outskirts. Liu Yuzhen opened the car door and walked towards the villa. The two people in the back row grabbed Wen-ning and followed him. Help! Help! Wen-ning shouted loudly after getting out of the car. The strong man immediately covered her mouth to silence her. It's useless if you shout, no one here can hear you, Liu Yuzhen sneered. At the same time, an old man with a mustache walked out of the village from the opposite side of the road. He was 1.9 meters tall and looked old, but his figure was as straight as a sword. He smiled and entered the villa. Holy lady, it's a kidnapping. Kidnapping. Tong Yu, who was sitting on the sofa, held his baby fat cheeks with his hands and raised the corners of his mouth. Chapter 260 Skin to Skin Kiss. Why are you laughing, Lady Saint? Did you decide to be a good person and save people from danger? The old man walked over and sat on the single sofa opposite. I didn't have the plan, I just thought about happy things. Tong Yu took out her mobile phone and started a video call. After a while, a cute girl with two tails appeared on his phone. This person is Lian Dai. Isn't this the holy lady? What do you want from me? Lian Dai's tone was very cold. Lian Dai, don't be so polite. Maybe in a while you will be the saint of Jialand. Tong Yu smiled and lay back on the sofa, picking up the snacks on the side. I'm very busy. If there's nothing to do, I will hang up. Lian Dai's face was very cold. I heard that you were attacked by a teacher. Tong Yu asked with a smile, I want to know who the teacher is. Who said I was attacked? Lian Dai asked with a puzzled expression on his face. Why bother pretending? The reason why Bao Lian next to you is able to escape was because of Marlon. Before he died, he had already told the third sect about the matter. Tong Yu smiled slightly, and the third sect naturally didn't dared create problems for the second sect. So they told him everything the same month. Lian Dai's expression changed slightly. Since Tong Yu knew everything, he didn't bother to hide it. Yes, I was attacked by Fen Lin. Brother Fen Lin, Tong Yu suddenly sat up from the sofa. Stand. Brother. You are so bold. Are you secretly colluding with Death Knight? When Lian Dai thought of this person, his teeth itched with hatred. What do you know? Brother Fen Lin is the man I like. I will find a way to get him to join our first sect in the future. Tong Yu looked at the old man next to her. Fortunately, she was careful and brought Mr. Chen with him this time. Otherwise, things would be really difficult to handle. The man like. When Lian Dai heard this, a smile gradually appeared on his cold face. It's too late, he is already my man and we are already close to each other. Then Brother Lin, would you like someone like you? Tong Yu didn't believe it at all. According to his understanding, Fen Lin had very righteous views, so how could he attack a minor? It's normal to fall in love with me, right? Only a stupid man will fall in love with you. He might go crazy and kill him. Lian Dai pursed his lips with a sarcastic smile. Do you think I believe it? After Tong Yu finished speaking, he hung up that video call. He picked up his phone and immediately dialed Fen Lin's number. Fen Lin was eating braised chicken when his phone suddenly vibrated. He took it and looked at it, found that it was from the same month, and immediately plugged it in. "Brother Feng Lin, I heard that you came to Gashi." Tong Ju asked there. "Yes, I'm here," Feng Lin nodded. "So, did you meet Lian Dai from the second sect?" Tong Ju asked hurriedly. Feng Lin did not respond immediately. "Did Tong Yu already know?" "Why do you ask this?" "She just told me she's already close to you." When Tong Ju said this, she showed a familiar laugh. "Hey, if Brother Feng Lin betrays me, I will kill you. Make him a specimen and hang him on the wall. When you say that, I want to betray you." Feng Lin was holding his mobile phone in one hand and was eating something in the other. "That is, Brother Feng Lin hasn't betrayed me yet." Tong Yu laughed again. "I'll hang up first and we may have to meet later." Feng Lin looked at the hanging phone and shook his head slightly. I thought she would tell him important information, but it seemed like she was overthinking it. After finishing lunch, Feng Lin stayed in bed for a while. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, information arrived on Feng Lin's mobile phone. It is Sister Huang's information. Feng Lin looked at the other party's information and his face became more and more scared. It seems too standard and fake. Fifth read. Feng Lin squinted his eyes. He had lived in a rural area since he was a child and had primary education. After that, they were all white, with no history of having attended middle school or high school. Not to mention the university. The most recent record is that 5 years ago, he came to Gu City and spent money to buy the current bar. I'd better go there in person. Feng Lin put away the phone, got up and patted Si Kongjin on the shoulder. "You stay here, I'll go out." "Yeah." Si Kongjin kept his eyes fixed on the screen. He nodded slightly. Feng Lin did not drive this time and walked towards the bar. Because this hotel was chosen based on the bar, and the distance is not very far. As soon as he arrived in front of the bar, a strong man came from a distance and smiled at Feng Lin. He took out his phone and opened a photo. Feng Lin looked down and narrowed his eyes suddenly. In the photo, Wenning is tied with her open leaning against the wall. "Brother, come with me, otherwise you know better than me what the consequences will be for this beauty." The strong man put his arm around Feng Lin's shoulders. "You can only go alone." "Okay, now it's okay, just here comes a hero to save beauty." Feng Lin nodded with a smile. The strong man put his arm around Feng Lin's shoulders and the two got into the Buick car next to them. At the same time, Wenning sat on the ground and shouted at Liu Wuzhen, "Let me go. You are illegally detaining me. I will definitely call the police." Liu Wuzhen smiled and spread his hands. "I'm sorry, this matter has nothing to do with it. Please let me go. Feng Lin and I are really not familiar. He is still a scumbag. I just scolded him. How could he come to save me?" Wenning also knew in her heart that Feng Lin would definitely not come to save her. It was a scumbag and it had just exposed him, but it didn't fit him either. At this moment, a tall and thin man walked out, smiled and said, "Young Master Liu, Feng Lin is already here." "What?" They opened in disbelief. Then he said, "You must have kidnapped him. He didn't do it voluntarily." Liu Wuzhen looked at the man and asked, "Is it voluntary?" "Yes, Bao Ang asked him to look at the photo and he wanted to. I didn't even think about it and just came." The tall and thin man nodded. Hearing this, Wenning, who had not cried since she was kidnapped, felt her eyes hurt and tears flowed involuntarily. "That fool, why haha, I didn't expect it to be so easy." After Liu Wuzhen finished speaking, he shook his head slightly. "No, he may think that I dare not touch him." Asked Wenning to be put into the bedroom. What happened next? Two bloody Feng Lin arrived at this villa by car. The car drove into the villa. Feng Lin jumped out of the car, looked into the distance, and found a master in the middle Minjin stage here. It seems that it was specially used to deal with him. Under the leadership of the two men, Feng Lin walked to the living room of the villa. Liu Wuzhen was sitting on the sofa, crossing his legs, and smoking a cigarette. This scene is familiar to him last night. Feng Lin looked around and finally landed at the door of a bedroom. "Wow, we meet again." Liu Wuzhen smiled and shrugged. "Come on, let's talk about what happened last night." Chapter 261. Meeting the same moon again. Feng Lin said with a smile. "You are so brave. Do you know who I am?" "Of course you do, otherwise why would I kneel before you last night?" Liu Wuzhen waved his hand gently and a dozen people came from all directions and all the men had daggers in their hands. "I am a man and I have come as promised. Shouldn't you be a man and let Wenning go?" Feng Lin's voice was loud, neither humble nor overbearing. Wenning, who was in the bedroom, heard it clearly. She burst into tears. Why did this idiot come to save her when he was obviously a bastard? Liu Wuzhen waved softly, and a man in the dormitory grabbed Wenning and walked out. Wenning yelled at Feng Lin, "Run! They will kill you. Do you think you can still run away at this time?" Liu Zhen took a deep breath of cigarette and looked at Wen Ning. Wen Ning, how do you think I should deal with Feng Lin today? Let him go. This matter has nothing to do with him, I bet you. Wen Ning knelt on the ground with a plop. Ha, there's no point in kneeling. Come here, first break this kid's leg. I don't like him standing there talking to me. Liu Zhen crossed his legs and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Killing Feng Lin in one go was too easy for him. Today he was going to torture Feng Lin. Only in this way can the scars on his heart be healed. No. Don't do it. Wen Ning knelt on the ground and cried. I really didn't expect things to develop like this. If she hadn't let Feng Lin pretend to be her boyfriend that night, how could these things have happened? It's okay to break your legs, but can you let Wen Ning go first? Feng Lin pointed to Wen Ning and said. Don't worry, I won't hurt her. I can't let her go now. What if she leaves and calls the police? The corners of Liu Zhen's mouth raised slightly. He needed to give Wen Ning a long memory and let him know the consequences of offending him. Feng Lin was about to take out his weapon and show off. He turned suddenly and looked in the direction of the outside of the villa. Feng Lin suddenly stretched out his hand. Wait a minute. Wait for your grandfather. Who do you think you are? Do it. Liu Zhen shouted sternly. A strong man raised his dagger and stabbed Feng Lin in the leg. I told you to wait a minute. Feng Lin slapped the man across the face and the powerful impact instantly sent him flying. Boom. His body hit the back wall and he fell unconscious on the spot. The remaining people who were ready to act were confused when they saw this. What the hell is going on? A slap from 10 meters away. Liu Zhen was dumbfounded. After all, he came from a rich family and was knowledgeable. The only people who can possess this kind of power are ancient warriors. Could it be? And just as Liu Zhen was about to speak, Feng Lin suddenly ran to the room on the second floor. The speed is so fast that it flies by. Wen Ning, who was still crying here, also looked confused. What do you mean? If you don't save people, why do you run to the second floor? At this moment, two figures suddenly appeared in the living room. Feng Lin passed through the crack of the second floor door and watched silently. His expression suddenly changed and it turned out to be the same month. He didn't expect her to enter the middle stage of the transformation realm so quickly. Feng Lin's eyes fell on the old man behind Tongyu. He simply felt the old man's breath. Just for a moment, it can be described as terrifying. Feng Lin was sure that her strength definitely surpassed his. Hey. The saint who saves people from fire and water is here. The corner of Tongyu's mouth raised in an evil arc, and his eyes narrowed slightly as he looked around. Where do you come from, girl? Get out of here right now. A strong man next to him raised a dagger and walked towards Tongyu. Brush. Extremely fast. That same month, he grabbed the heart of the strong man with one hand. Because the speed was too fast, the strong man did not die immediately. He looked at the thing in Tongju's hand, then lowered his head and looked ahead with eyes full of fear. Hit. He fell to the ground, blood gushing out. Liu Zhen sat on the sofa and the cigarettes in his hand fell to the ground. He was in shock and wanted to escape, but his legs felt like they were full of lead and he couldn't move at all. Wen Ning couldn't believe it and bit the corner of his mouth, suspecting that he was dreaming. But the pain told him it was all true. Ugh. Wen Ning admired, feeling like his stomach was turning. Brush. Tongyu casually threw the heart, making it bounce off the ground several times and landing right in front of Wen Ning. She tries to escape, but the rope is tied around him and he finally screams and faints from fear. Who are you? I didn't provoke you, did I? Liu Zhen was so scared that his lips trembled and he fell to the ground with a plop. I am the messenger of justice. Tongju put her hands on her hips and turned around with a smile on her face. Mr. Chen, I will leave the matter of the corpse to you. Yes. Lady Saint. Chen Kong nodded and stepped on the bodies at his feet. The red light turned into flames and engulfed the corpse in the blink of an eye. In the end there was nothing left but a pool of dry blood. When Liu Zhen saw this scene, he felt his soul tremble. Spare my life, I was wrong, please let me go, I have a lot of money. It turns out that he is a bit shot, I just have something to do. Tongyu smiled with a smile. Said. Great, I will definitely work seriously. No matter what, I am willing to do it. I only ask that you let go, me. Before Liu Zhen could finish speaking, blood spurted out of his neck and fell to the ground. The land. Feng Lin turned the black scalpel and appeared next to Liu Zhen. Brother Feng Lin. Tongju looked at Feng Lin in front of him and exclaimed. Be careful. Chen Kong's expression changed and he suddenly stood in front of Tongyu. Faga. Faga. The few strong men left around had blood gushing from their necks and fell to the ground. but Fen Lin in front of him was still there, seemingly unmoved. You are worthy of being the mortuary doctor. I thought it was just an appearance, but when I saw it today, it was really worthy of its reputation. Chen Kong looked at the fallen people around him with a serious expression on his face. Xiao Yu, long time no see. Fen Lin smiled and turned the dagger. Guess if you can escape my grasp today. Hey, brother Fen Lin, you said the opposite. You should be the one who can escape today. Can you escape from my grasp? Tong Yu smiled, then grabbed Chen Kong's arm. Let me introduce you to the sixth earthly evil in the Nine Netherlands, Chen Kong. The sixth earthly evil. Fen Lin was full of solemnity. No wonder he feels so terrible. I heard before that the top 10 evil spirits of the Nine Netherlands have already entered the scope of penetration. This person is sixth and must be more than the initial stage. My lady saint, my suggestion is to run away. Although I can beat him, it seems I can't protect your safety in front of him. Chen Kong looked at Tong Yu and said, What? Is brother Fen Lin so strong? Tong Yu asked. Well, the Fen Lin in front of me is a real breakthrough. Chen Kong nodded heavily. It seems that the information Yunnan gave needs to be updated. Chapter 262 Why do they call me the Doctor of Death? Tong Yu's smile became stronger and stronger. You are indeed the man I have fallen in love with. I really want brother Fen Lin to be my pet. I will definitely hug you every day. Wow. Fen Lin's figure suddenly disappeared. Seeing this, Chen Kong took out a dagger from his arms and disappeared as well. Click. As soon as their swords touched, Fen Lin's black scalpel cut off Chen Kong's dagger. Call. Chen Kong's eyes suddenly lit up with red light and he kicked towards Fen Lin. Fen Lin's left eye also flashed a dark red light and he kicked out to meet the attack. Boom. The two people's penetrating round power collided, and the ground under their feet exploded and collapsed instantly. All the window panes in the villa were shattered. After the two people tried it, they immediately walked away and retreated to their previous positions. It's amazing. It's really beyond my imagination. Chen Kong's eyes gradually filled with fighting spirit. Holy Lord, please go first. I want to play with him. Don't worry, brother Fen Lin won't kill. Mine. Tong Yu took a few steps forward and approached the unconscious Wen Ning. She tore off the rope around Wen Ning and returned to the previous place. Now that I have a hostage in my hand, brother Fen Lin will not kill me. You're sure? I dare not joke with the life of the saint. Chen Kong is always wary of Fen Lin. Don't worry, brother Fen Lin not only doesn't kill me now, but also owes me an explanation. Tong Yu looked at Wen Ning in his arms. Brother Fen Lin is here. Obviously he is here to save this woman. If you dare to do anything to her, if you have any intention, I will kill her. In the same month, this woman and I met by chance. If you let her go, I will never kill you today. Fen Lin said as he looked at the same month. HNPH. Are you worried about her? Tong Yu's pretty face became more and more cold. I'm only worried about the hostage. If you have a man in hand, I will be the same. Fen Lin said with a smile. So that's it. Don't worry, I won't kill her. Tong Yu smiled, turned her back to Wen Ning, turned around and disappeared. Only Fen Lin and Chen Kong were left here. Okay, the troublemaker is gone. Let me treat you today. I will show no mercy. Chen Kong stood with his hands behind his back, fighting spirit in his body. Let me see, you, a great assassin, can you be so strong? I think you have some misunderstanding about me. I'm not a killer, I'm a doctor, Fen Lin explained with a smile as he turned the scalpel. I have your information here. Your strongest strength is speed. Isn't speed used to assassinate? Chen Kong asked strangely. No, my speed is for escape. If I was assigned a profession according to the team game division, then I should be an auxiliary, Fen Lin pointed and said. Haha, do you think I believe it? Chen Kong stepped on it with one foot and the floor of the entire villa collapsed. He rushed towards Fen Lin and directly used his killer move. Fen Lin felt the fluctuation of his breath and the opponent's strength made Fen Lin breathless. Not only in the medium term. At least it has reached the peak of the medium term and has even entered the late penetration stage. Facing this terrifying power, Fen Lin could not resist strongly and could only use speed to entangle. Haha. You say you are not a killer. With such a flexible body and deadly movements, it is very uncomfortable to fight against someone like you. Chen Kong retreated and fought more than a dozen times, but none of them hit the opponent. It's not as exciting as a head-on battle. Your strength is much greater than mine. I can't face you head-on. Fen Lin suddenly smiled. If you can promise to save the woman's life at this time, I can let you see it. See what? Chen Kong asked. Of course, why do they call me a doctor of death? Why do I say that I am the assistant? Fen Lin smiled and spread his hands. Oh. I agree. Chen Kong raised his eyebrows in surprise. The holy lady did not intend to kill her. I can save her life. Okay. Fen Lin inserted the scalpel into the front end of the belt, and then took it out of the belt. On the left side, use his fingernail to mark 2 black thumbtacks. But it is different from the thumbtack. The tip of the nail is as thin as a silver needle. Chen Kong's eyes gradually narrowed until formed a thin line and noticed that the belt on Fen Lin's left side was full of black thumbtacks. At first he thought it was decoration, but he didn't expect it to have other uses. Fen Lin had one and a dark red key followed his fingers, dyeing the special black thumbtack red. Broken. He pressed this special thumbtack under his left eye. He took out another thumbtack, dyed it red, and pressed it to his neck. Because I can increase the status. Fen Lin's eyes turned red. When he said this, his face was only 10 centimeters away from Chen Kong. What? Chen Kong was shocked. Fen Lin's speed exceeded his sensory nerves. Boom. Chen Kong reluctantly caught Fen Lin's fist. After touching Fen Lin's fist, his body flew back like a big cannonball. Hole in the wall of the villa. Even so, his body still flew upside down. Brush. A red light flashed and Fen Lin followed Chen Kong in the blink of an eye. That's it. Chen Kong left. It looked like a thumbtack, but it was actually a silver needle to stimulate acupuncture points. Body. That's why it's made like a thumbtack, so you can press it directly. This power is none other than mine. He is indeed a doctor of death. Chen Kong stepped forward without hesitation. The villa opposite. Wen Ning woke up weakly and looked around. It was a strange environment. I must be dreaming, Wen Ning murmured, rubbed his face vigorously and sat up from the sofa. Are you awake? Tongju asked from the side. It's you. When Wen Ning saw Tongju's cute face with some body fat baby, he was so scared that he fell off the sofa. Hehehe, it's me. Tongju approached Wen Ning and asked coldly, tell me, what is your relationship with Fen Lin? I have no relationship with him at all, Wen Ning said immediately, after experimenting. After the Liu Zhen incident, he must let go of his relationship with Fen Lin. Really? Sister, don't be nervous, I am your savior. Tongju suddenly smiled and took Wen Ning's arm. Wen Ning simply felt terrified. This is not a dream, it is real. This woman killed a man without hesitation, and if sister, don't be afraid, Tongju said with a smile, you can't show mercy to bad people. Boom. Just as Tongju finished speaking, there was a loud noise in the yard outside. The village immediately ran out and found that Chen Kong's white hair was as white as a chicken coop and his clothes were in tatters. His face was still covered in blood. Fen Lin, on the other side, was also in a bad mood and his nose was still bleeding. Impossible. It's more than the 6th. Ha ha ha. Good brother, it's very funny. Let's continue next time. Chen Kong patted Fen Lin on the shoulder. Okay. I can't wait. Fen Lin also patted Chen Kong on the shoulder and nodded with a smile. The same month became even more confusing. Aren't you two enemies? Why do you seem to have such a relationship? Good. Holy Lord, let that woman go. Fen Lin also said that I won't hurt you. Chen Kong walked over with a smile and said to Tongju. Tongju froze in place, she still didn't want to believe it. Chapter 263 Misunderstand him. Although Tongju was surprised in his heart, he felt that this was not a bad thing. Fen Lin's ability to accept people from his first sect can be seen as paving the way for him to join in the future. Don't worry, I am the messenger of justice, how could I hurt her? Tongju smiled and opened the door of the villa, letting Fen Lin in. Fen Lin was not polite. When he fought against Chen Kong, he found that this man was very decent. It is an object of use. To say that it is useful, Fen Lin is cliché at best. According to Fen Lin's creed, honest people deserve preferential treatment. When I came to the living room, I found that the decoration here was similar to the one opposite. Wen Ning was sitting on a sofa, a little lost. When he saw Fen Lin, he felt inexplicably relieved and hurriedly cried with joy. Fen Lin, are you okay? He quickly took out a tissue from his body and wiped the blood from Fen Lin's face. Suddenly, she felt a chill and then realized that Tongyu was looking at her with a cold expression. She was so scared that she quickly handed the handkerchief to Fen Lin. Fen Lin took the tissue, smiled and went to the bathroom to wipe the blood on his face. When he came out, Fen Lin had returned to his original state and his clothes were in tatters and could not be repaired. Wen Ning, take a taxi back. Fen Lin smiled, put his arm around Wen Ning's shoulders, and left the villa. It is better to let this outsider leave first. Fen Lin still admires Wen Ning, a woman. After witnessing that scene, I have almost recovered. Tong Yu and Chen Kong did not follow him. When they arrived at the courtyard, Wen Ning asked timidly, "Fen Lin, who are they?" "Don't ask, go home and sleep well, leave this place to me." Fen Lin seemed to be about to do it. "Die." "Fen Lin, they didn't come with us, should we escape?" Wen Ning looked at Fen Lin, gritted his teeth and said, "What happened this time is all my fault. It has nothing to do with you, go home and sleep today." Treat it as a dream. Fen Lin had already reached the roadside, and there happened to be a taxi in the distance. He stretched out his hand to stop it and let Wen Ning sit on it. After closing the car door, Fen Lin waved at her and returned to the villa. Wen Ning stared at Fen Lin's back, feeling very confused. But in the end he decided to leave. Fen Lin was actually very kind to her, but he couldn't hide the fact that he was a bastard. He must be doing this to sleep with me, like that beautiful girl at the hotel. Wen Ning thought she would never associate with a man like that. She decided to stay away from him in the future. When he arrived at the hotel where Fen Lin was staying, his car was still parked here. Wen Ning got into the car and was about to leave. After thinking about it, he decided to chat with a woman at the hotel. Arriving at the room where the food was served, Wen Ning knocked on the door. It was already noon and the sun was shining directly into the room. Sikong Jin was shirtless, drinking water happily and playing. He thought that Fen Lin had returned, so he opened the door without putting on clothes. But he saw Wen Ning standing outside the door. Sikong Jin asked expressionlessly, "Is something wrong?" "You, When Wen Ning saw this scene, he hurriedly covered his eyes. But he felt something was wrong. She was also a woman, so why should she cover her eyes? Watching carefully, she found Sikong Tan in front of her. Although she was relatively small, she could still see the difference between women and men. He raised his head again, looked at Sikong Jin's neck, and pointed at him in shock. "You're a man." Foolishness. When Sikong Jin realized that Fen Lin would not return, he closed the door again. Man. It's a man. Wen Ning gradually panicked inwardly. In other words, Fen Lin's relationship with him was not what he thought. Fen Lin only has one fiancée and has not been involved with other women. I wrongly blamed him. Damn. Thinking of this, Wen Ning ran downstairs and drove his own car to find Fen Lin. On the other side, Fen Lin was sitting on the sofa. Tong Ju smiled and sat next to Fen Lin, holding his arm. "Brother Fen Lin, what are you doing here? We received news from above that there's a traitor in Jialand who stole the baby of the 9th sect." Fen Lin didn't lie, they could guess it with just a casual guess. "You might as well be honest with them. As expected of the secret army, they know everything." Chen Kong said to himself next to him. "Brother Fen Lin, I want this baby too, can you give it to me?" Tong Yu leaned her head on Fen Lin's shoulder and said coquettishly. Although Fen Lin knew that the girl meant no harm, he still felt a chill. "I can give it to you, but tell me where the 9 others are." Fen Lin said lightly. "That's not possible. We have something very important there. If you know it, will Jinagu Axiomist know it too? But then we will have fallen short." Tong Yu shook his head and puffed his mouth slightly. "Then I'll go see what kind of treasure it is. If it's of no use to me, I'll give it to you." Fen Lin stood up with a smile, having just learned about it from him. They had just arrived and did not know the whereabouts of the 25 dishes. There was nothing to ask. Fen Lin was about to leave and go to the bar. "Okay, I'm leaving," Fen Lin said to the two. "Goodbye, brother Fen Lin." Tong Yu smiled and waved his hand without holding back. "Goodbye." No need to say goodbye after Fen Lin said this, his figure disappeared here. Watching Fen Lin leave, Tong Yu's smile gradually faded. "Mr. Chen, how strong are you?" "Very strong. Unless we are trapped in a cage, my chance of killing him alone is 0. Chen Kong shook his head. Good boy. Tong Yu lay back on the sofa, closed her eyes and thought. Fen Lin left the villa and waited for a taxi on the side of the road, but Wen Ning's tram unexpectedly arrived. He walked over, opened the passenger door and got inside. "Didn't I tell you to go home and rest? Why are you here again?" Fen Lin was a little helpless. This madwoman of the same month had a volatile temper. She was really afraid that the other party would kill Wen Ning. "Sorry, I wrongly blamed you." Wen Ning rubbed his eyes while driving. "Then he is a man. Why didn't you explain it to me before?" Fen Lin was a little surprised, but he didn't expect that. "Would go to Sikong Jin again." "Why should I explain?" Fen Lin asked. "Actually, I know. You just don't want to have any more contact with me because you're afraid your fiancé will get angry, right?" Wen Ning lowered his head and said, "You're a good man." Fen Lin rolled his eyes, his identity changing 3 times with her. From the initial honest person to a bastard, and from a bastard to a good man. Where are you going? This is not the address of the hotel. Fen Lin suddenly noticed that she was driving the car south and remembered that the hotel she was in was to the north. Go to my house. This time you got hurt because of me. I will always pay for your clothes. Wen Ning took Fen Lin to a family building on the outskirts of Gashi. After parking the car here to load, Wen Ning took Fen Lin upstairs. His family lived on a second floor. After opening the door, Wen Ning let Fen Lin in. Fen Lin looked around and saw that it was a small but cozy nest. He looked towards the window and saw a pair of black underwear hanging there. When Wen Ning saw this, his face suddenly turned red and he immediately ran over and held the clothes in his arms. I didn't see him. He is young and has very bold taste. Fen Lin said with a smile next to him. The black color is only stain resistant, Wen Ning said in a low voice. Chapter 264 No More Pretending. Fen Lin smiled and didn't say much about this matter. He sat on the sofa and asked with a smile, Your house? No, it's rented. Wen Ning ran to the bedroom, put away all his things, and walked out with a calm expression. He quickly changed the subject. What size do you wear? There is a clothing store not far away. I will buy you a set. Fen Lin took off his shirt and threw it at Wen Ning, just black casual clothes. I don't like fancy things. All right. Wen Ning looked at the clothing pattern and opened the door. By the way, there is something to drink in the refrigerator. You can stay here for a while. After that, he turned and left, closing the door. Fen Lin got up from the sofa and wandered around his small house out of boredom. There is a notepad on the counter next to it. He flicked through some random pages, which contained recorded expenses. Even the price of mineral water, which costs a few yuan, is written clearly. Hospital. Fen Lin originally planned to close it, but found that there were records of visits to the hospital almost every month. It costs about 500 yuan a time. Fen Lin was a little surprised that he didn't notice anything abnormal about his body. Perhaps it was a skeletal injury, the type of injury that would require a careful examination of the body to see. For example, bone dislocation cannot be felt by taking the pulse. There is nothing for you to do and you can check it later. After a while, Wen Ning opened the door and walked in. He took a black casual suit and put it at Fen Lin. Put it on, Wen Ning walked over and said. Thank you. Fen Lin picked up his clothes and walked towards the bedroom. After changing his clothes, Fen Lin left the room and said with a smile, It suits me. Are you eating? Wen Ning asked with a smile. No, I accidentally looked at your accounting notebook just now. Why do you go to the hospital every month? Fen Lin asked strangely. This is my private matter. Wen Ning looked at the notebook next to her, immediately picked it up and held it in her arms. I'm doctor. If you don't mind, let me take a look. Fen Lin took out a silver needle from the right side of his belt. It's an old Chinese doctor. Forget it, it's not a big problem. Wen Ning's head shook like a rattle. Okay, Fen Lin was able to treat her for free, which was considered the most benevolent. Even if the other party is not cured, he won't say much about this matter. If nothing happens, I will leave. Fen Lin greeted Wen Ning and left the house. I'll see you off. No, just sleep well like I told you. Fen Lin left the house and took the initiative to close the door. Standing below the hall, Fen Lin took a deep breath and looked at the time. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fen Lin was going to the Fifth Red Bar. But before that, he returned to the hotel and took out a listening device from Sakam Jin's wallet. The Red Fifth is too mysterious. I hope this little listening device can listen to useful information. Tubers. It's already just afternoon and the music here is very soft. There are not many people here, just young people in 2s or 3s, gathered to chat. After Fen Lin walked here, his eyes looked at the second floor. In the corner of the second floor, Fifth Hong was sitting there, drinking red wine. Fen Lin arrived at the stairs of the second floor and was stopped here by 2 security guards. Let him come up, Fifth Hong said on the second floor with a smile. Please. The 2 security guards stood back and bowed their heads very respectfully. Fen Lin took 3 steps and 2 steps at a time to reach the second floor. Fifth Hong also walked over with a glass of wine and took the initiative to open the room next to her. After Fen Lin entered, he looked around to see where he could place the bug. Fifth Hong closed the door of the room with a smile, walked gracefully on lotus steps, and approached Fen Lin. Sir, what's wrong? Can't I come to you if I have nothing to do? Fen Lin sat on the sofa with a smile in his eyes. Dead Knight has a fun tradition, that is, it doesn't like to waste time. Since the police station could not find any information about Fifth Red through investigation, Fen Lin was prepared to use force. Of course Wu Huang sat next to Fen Lin and leaned his entire body against Fen Lin. Fen Lin's hand fell on Wu Huang's skirt and began to forcefully tear it. Bullet. Came a weak voice. Fen Lin carefully opened the black skirt. Sir, don't be so impatient. Wu Hong grabbed the torn skirt with one hand and gently tapped Fen Lin's forehead with the other. You lit my flames yesterday. I've held it back until now, so I'm not in a hurry. Fen Lin's hand was in front of Wu Hong. He didn't believe that a master of this level would actually do it. Achieve. Brush. Fen Lin pulled on her skirt suddenly and tore off half of it. Plump, but not fat. Wu Hong's eyes gradually narrowed. She smiled, bit Fen Lin's eyelid, and breathed softly. Sir, last night was fine, but today my relatives are here. Fen Lin smiled and put his finger against Wu Hong. I should be a high-level player, I think you know how to please me. Fifth Hong smiled and pushed Fen Lin away, got up and left. But Fen Lin grabbed her arm and held her in his arms. I can't leave, I need to put out the fire. Lord, I'm not just a casual person. Last night was last night. Today I met someone but I don't want to serve you anymore. You're reckless. You should know who I know. If you're of no use to me, I will destroy your store. Fen Lin looked at Wu Hong's eyes. He had reached his limit. Fen Lin. You've gone too far. Wu Hong suddenly turned one hand into a claw and attacked Fen Lin's neck. Fen Lin easily grabbed Wu Hong's wrist. Aren't you pretending anymore? Buzz. The fifth thread as they burst into red light, suddenly bursting with power. Boom. Fen Lin hit Wu Hong in the chest. She looked in disbelief, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. Since you are no longer pretending, I am too lazy to pretend. He grabbed Wu Hong's neck and pushed her to the ground. Who are you? I didn't expect you to be so strong. They are worthy of being a mortuary doctor. Fen Lin pinned Wu Hong's pretty face to the ground. She sneered. I won't tell you even if I die. You won't die immediately. For an adult, I have too many ways to make you talk. Fen Lin quickly pulled out the silver needle from his belt on the left side and stabbed into Wu Hong's body. The fifth red face was startled and suddenly curled up and rolled around the ground, his beautiful face twisted like an evil ghost. Ah! Although he persisted for more than 10 seconds. Pain on 9 levels. Enjoy it. Fen Lin took out another silver needle and touched another acupuncture point on the fifth thread with the palm. Ah! Fifth Hong growled, continued scratching his skin and tore off all his remaining clothes. Scratching his body frantically. It felt like countless ants were eating his body. The red fifth was heartbroken and drooled from his mouth. Due to the pain, the brain could no longer give the order to close his mouth. Next, the third needle. He moved his finger and another silver needle plunged into Wu Hong's body. Level 3 pain. The strongest person in the past endured level 6 and died in the end. I hope you can new record. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Mundo Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 265 The Emperor's Plan. Fifth Red was lying on the ground and kept hitting his head on the ground. He wanted to pass out and ease the pain. But she was thinking too much. She was increasingly awake and showed no signs of fainting. At this moment, Fen Lin's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Sukam Jin's phone number. Fen Lin immediately grabbed Wu Hong's neck, making her unable to breathe and making no sound. What's wrong, fourth son? Fen Lin asked. There is a master coming to the hotel where we live. He is a master of the divine realm. Sukam Jin's voice came from there. Fen Lin frowned and there was another magical thing. It was probably from Jia-land. I understand, fourth brother, stay in the room first, don't alert the enemy, wait until I come back. Fen Lin turned off the phone and then let go of Wu Hong's neck. She was almost exhausted, lying on the floor, twitching from time to time. Tears, snot and saliva came out. Next is the fourth needle. Fen Lin took out another silver needle. Fen Lin. If you have the ability, kill me. If you have the ability, kill me. Anyway, didn't you destroy your entire organization back then? Fifth Hong roared angrily, tears streaming down his face. Destroy your organization. That means your organization deserves it. Fen Lin snorted coldly. The organization deserves its punishment, but the hostages they captured are all innocent. They are experimental subjects and pitiful people. Fifth Hong shouted loudly, his screams intermittent. The endless pain made her lose her mind. Test subject. The human emperor's plan. Fen Lin's pupil shrank suddenly, grabbed Wu Hong's hair, and asked in a deep voice, are you a survivor? Haha, I won't tell you even to death. Hong sneered and spit out a mouthful of blood on Fen Lin's face. But a dark red light appeared in front of Fen Lin's face and evaporated in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, Fifth Hong was desperate. Unexpectedly, Fen Lin turned out to be the legendary Breakthrough Elm. No wonder he lost the ability to resist in one fell swoop. I didn't kill those test subjects. On the contrary, I also rescued a survivor. His name is Sikam Jin, who was a member of my dead knight, Fen Lin said calmly. Sikam Jin, Zhao Jin. You're talking nonsense. You lied to me. Wu Hong was shocked when he heard this and then roared angrily. Damn it. Did you hurt one of your own? Fen Lin immediately removed the silver needle from Fifth Huang's body and then stabbed her in the back with 2 silver needles. Wu Huang's body gradually calmed down and she lay on her side on the ground panting. He also felt his body regain consciousness and reached out to pull out the silver needle from his back. No, that's to help you relieve the pain. Fen Lin stopped him, then took out his cell phone and made a video call to Sikam Jin. After a while, Sikam Jin on the opposite side answered the call. What's wrong? I'm busy. Do you know this person? Fen Lin pointed his phone camera at the red fifth on the ground. Fifth Hong also looked at Sikam Jin on the screen and his eyes almost popped out. This person, really, Koichi, are you calm? Fifth Red shouted hoarsely. And Huang. Sikam Jin, who had always had a poker face, panicked when he saw the beautiful face of the woman in front of him. I don't even know what expression to use. Sure enough, it's Jacquin, you're not dead, you're not dead. Fifth Hong laughed until she shed tears. Okay, fourth son, you ate in the room, I will take him there immediately. Fen Lin turned off the phone and slowly took out the silver needle from his back. Fifth Hong still felt pain come in, but compared to the current joy, these pains were nothing. Now do you believe what I say? Fen Lin helped Wu Hong up. Take me to Xiaojin quickly, hurry up. Fifth Hong grabbed Fen Lin's arm and shook him vigorously. Fen Lin looked at Wu Hong awkwardly. Isn't it bad for you to go out like this? Wu Hong looked down, his face suddenly turned red, and he hurried into the bedroom. After a while, he came out wearing some very ordinary sports clothing. Take me there quickly. Fifth Hong said impatiently. Okay, but I need to cover myself a little. Fen Lin took out the mask and found a hat here. Another Divine Realm person checked into the hotel and Fen Lin was afraid that he would be recognized. Leave the bar with Fifth Red. Wu Hong was about to stop the taxi, but Fen Lin stopped him. He took Fifth Huang's hand, walked along a path, and appeared in front of the hotel door in just 3 minutes. Right here. To investigate you, I deliberately chose the hotel closest to the bar. Fen Lin took Wu Hong to the elevator and arrived at the floor where they were. Arriving at the room, Fen Lin opened the door. Fifth Hong looked at Sikam Jin who was nearby, cried and ran to hug each other. Fen Lin closed the door and sat in a nearby chair. Zhao Jin, I thought you were dead. Wu Hong grabbed Sikam Jin's hand and said while wiping his tears. The people in the organization used our experimental products as hostages. In the end, the boss rescued me. Sikam Jin looked at Fen Lin. So it's true. I was fooled. Fifth Hong knelt before Fen Lin and bowed deeply. Mr. Fen Lin, I have misunderstood you all this time. I apologize. No, we don't know each other without fighting, not to mention they haven't hurt me. Fen Lin hurriedly walked over and picked up Wu Hong. What is your relationship with the fourth son? It is very appropriate to use roommates to describe Zhao Jin. When he was a woman, she was imprisoned in our women's prison. Fifth Hong looked at Sikam Jin, and his thoughts couldn't help but recall the painful past. Fen Lin heard from Sikam Jin that he was taken away for human experiments. The Emperor's plan. They are a group of crazy people who want to make humans stronger by modifying human genes. For this reason, they ignored human life and killed an unknown number of people. Fen Lin was still young and did not create Tech Knight. Your mission is to destroy your branch. Among the hostages, he only saved Sikam Jin. Fen Lin investigated this matter and found that the human emperor's plan in China is just the tip of the iceberg. This organization can be found all over the world. According to Wu Huang's report, Fen Lin knew that Sikam Jin was only 7 or 8 years old when he was arrested. Qinbo Hong, who was 20 years old at the time, had been taking care of Sikam Jin. When Fen Lin destroyed the organization, Wu Hong went out to carry out his mission. When he returned, the organization had been wiped out. Later, other members of the organization contacted her and told her that the country's secret army had destroyed them, along with those hostages. To get revenge, those people have used Fifth Red to do things for them. By the way, Disha from the Nine Nevers wants to join our organization. I know her current location, Wu Hong said to Fen Lin. Great. Fen Lin was delighted. He had felt that Fifth Red had lied to him. Fifth Hong and Disha had been chatting for so long, it was definitely not a simple chat. Don't worry about evil spirits. Sikam Jin suddenly looked at Fen Lin and said expressionlessly, in the video call just now, and Hong was not wearing anything. Zhao Jin, and what are you talking about? Wu Hong was immediately stunned. The face flushed. Boss, since you have seen everything, you must marry An Hong, otherwise I will not forgive you. Sikam Jin looked at Fen Lin indifferently. Fen Lin rolled his eyes. When did you learn from Dad? Fourth, you saw it too. Why don't you marry me? Fen Lin asked. Chapter 266. Is this the treasure? Sikam Jin said calmly. I am different from you, An Hong is my elder. Don't talk nonsense. I am satisfied to find you. Wu Wen rolled his eyes. He didn't care about the things between them. Men and women, I never thought about that. He didn't dare to think about it because he felt sorry for the man in the future. Like Sikam Jin, she was often used as a test subject and studied by a group of people since she was a child. Fifth Hong and Sikam Jin are high-end experimental products. Experimental products, medications that must withstand various tortures. Like a guinea pig. Some people with weak constitutions will die after a single injection. The fifth red physicist produced 5 different antibodies. So when the organization in China was destroyed, the headquarters found it immediately. An advanced experimental product like her can withstand more potent drug doses, allowing her to observe changes in the drug within the body. As for Sikam Jin, the antibodies in his body were several times that of fifth red. But after the time, the headquarters felt that Sikam Jin was dead. And Hong, my boss is a good man and I can trust him for life. Sikam Jin was still struggling with this matter. Fen Lin rolled his eyes and decided to change the subject first. Were you guys always locked up together? No, the people in the organization initially thought that Zhao Jin was a woman, but during the first physical examination, they knew that Zhao Jin was a woman. The closest gender. Fifth Hong looked at Sikam Jin and continued. Later, he was imprisoned on the male side, but his life was threatened, so he was finally sent here. Fifth Hong didn't explain so thoroughly, but Fen Lin had already guessed what happened. Among those male test subjects, such a beautiful person suddenly appeared. Even men can cause a stir. In comparison, it is safer to stay with women. Okay, I won't interrupt your talk. Where are the 25 dish now? Fen Lin decided to resolve the matter at hand first. In Nanchang of Gushi, there is an ancient city. I will tell you the exact location. Fifth Hong took out his phone and opened the map. This is a community in front of Trust Mart supermarket. You guys chat, I'll leave the matter to you. Let me do it. Fen Lin opened the window, turned around and said, don't worry about the divine realm of this hotel for now, wait until I return. That, Fen Lin jumped out. Trust Mart supermarket in Nanchang. As soon as Fen Lin arrived here, he felt a divine realm. Obviously, this person just entered the spiritual realm. Fen Lin looked around, there were more people here. He better be able to subdue the opponent with one blow. Otherwise it might cause a stir. Fen Lin raised his head and looked at the community in front. The other person was currently in the room. Specifically, he was on the 7th floor. Fen Lin lowered his head and arrived at the 7th floor without rush. He was standing outside the door, with one hand on the lock. Sensing the specific location of the opponent's aura, Fen Lin took a deep breath and used his dark energy boom. The door lock exploded instantly and Fen Lin pushed the door at an extremely fast speed, appearing in front of the couch in the blink of an eye. 25 Disho was sitting on the couch smoking, and before he could react, Fen Lin had already grabbed him by the collar. Boom. The sofa was torn apart by Fen Lin's ki, and the other part of his body also shook violently and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Fen Lin took out 2 silver needles from the belt on his right side and quickly pierced the point where his meridians converged. In the realm of divine orifices, it is no longer possible to control the flow of ki simply by stimulating acupuncture points. These 2 silver needles cannot be pulled out. As long as they are pulled out, the opponent will be able to break free instantly. Are you and Fen Lin? A trace of surprise flashed in Sheng's eyes, but then he breathed a sigh of relief. Although Fen Lin is the boss of Death Knight, it is easier compared to Jialand. Brother, I know everything about you. Fen Lin stood next to Sheng and stared at him with a smile. You are now a traitor in the land of Jiao. There are many evil spirits in Gu City who are here to catch you. A trace of fear flashed across Sheng's face. During this period, he has been hiding here and has not dared to come out. I am simply afraid of encountering the masters of Jialand. What do you want to do? Sheng asked in a deep voice. My purpose is very simple. There are 2 in total, the treasure in your body and all the information about the 9 others. Fen Lin shrugged with a smile, always alert to the actions of Sheng. As long as he made a move to take out the silver needle, Fen Lin would stop him at the last moment. Otherwise, the fight between the 2 might cause the nearby buildings to collapse. Where did you hear these things? Asked Sheng. It's a long story. I went for the first time to the Ross Islands, where I met people from the 9 Netherlands. From their mouths, I knew that you were in Gashi. Fen Lin smiled slightly. When Shang heard this, his face gradually became ugly. No wonder they knew where they were. It seems that his wife and son are dead. In this case, you have nothing to worry about. Fen Lin, I have betrayed the land of the 9 netherworlds. You called to the top of the Hidden Legion. I am willing to surrender and join you. And Shang pointed to himself and smiled. Anyway, I am also of the Shenkiao realm. I'm sorry, I have separated from the Hidden Legion. Give me your baby first. As for whether you will join the Hidden Legion, I can introduce you to Wit. Fen Lin stretched out his hand. He was still very curious. What kind of treasure is it that makes Jia Lan so mobilized? Ha, and Shang smiled brightly. Bitterness, he felt that this time he was going to end the baby is very important to him and is the basis for him to enter the real human organization. If the treasure is given to Fen Lin, I don't know if he will want me. Original was not to join the Hidden Legion. He is such a heinous villain that maybe someone will kill him after they finish blowing him up. You haven't answered me yet. Fen Lin looked at Shang, feeling that he had other thoughts in his heart. Then Fen Lin thought of the same month. He took out his cell phone and dialed the number of the same month. Brother Fen Lin. Tong Yu said with a smile. Although the hands-free was not turned on, and Shang, who had entered Divine Realm, he could still hear clearly. Fen Lin really knew the saint. It seems that I have found the trace of that person. Just wait for my news. Maybe I'll send it to you in a while. Fen Lin smiled, hung up the phone, and sent the short KTV video that Wen Pen had given to him in the same month. Do you know the saint? And asked Shang trembling. I know. She asked me to send you there after I caught you. He said he would fix your bones. Fen Lin nodded with a smile. No. Even if you kill me, don't hand me over to that madman. And Shang's face was full of fear. If he fell into the hands of that woman, it would not be as simple as death. Then hand over the treasure. Fen Lin extended his hand. Okay. I'll give it. Please follow me. And Shang got up and walked to the bedroom next to him. He opened the door and walked in. Fen Lin followed him, and when he noticed what was in front of him, he had a question mark on his face. What the hell? Is this a treasure? Fen Lin asked. Chapter 267 Little Fox. In front of Fen Lin was a small black iron cage with a snow-white fox inside. When the fox noticed someone entering, he raised his head and opened his eyes. They were a pair of strange pupils, one golden and one silver, which were particularly eye-catching. Yes, this is exactly the treasure I stole. It is one of the 9 treasures passed down by the god of the 9 netherworlds. Each of the 9 sects is one. And Shang squatted on the ground, pointed at the fox and explained. With a smile. Since it is a treasure, what is so special about it? Fen Lin also squatted on the ground, watching the fox. It looked pretty cute. I don't know. And Shang shook his head. I don't know. Fen Lin was a little confused. That's right, it was precisely because they didn't know what the use was that the sect masters of the 8 major sects chose the good things, leaving only this one, and Shang explained, to say that it is their only special feature. Even if he is immortal, he is 100 years old. Were you trying to trick me? Fen Lin grabbed in Shang's neck. This is not a treasure at all. If I lie to you, I will be struck by lightning. And Shang raised 3 fingers. Since you know the saint, you can also ask. Fen Lin opened the cage, picked up the white fox inside, and looked at it carefully. There was nothing special about him. The difference between this and ordinary foxes, apart from its strange eyes, is that it does not smell. Fen Lin's sense of smell could not detect any smell. Since it is useless, why do other sects want it so much? Fen Lin put the white fox on the ground, raised his head and asked. This is a treasure passed down by the god of the 9 netherworlds. It is also the only living creature among the 9 treasures. The sect leader knows that it must have something extraordinary, and Shang explained next to him. Fen Lin lowered his head and found that the fox was very sick. After putting it down, he lay down on the ground. Unlike other animals, they jump once they are free. Okay, let's talk about the 9 nethers next. Fen Lin knelt down, picked up the white fox and walked out. And Shang followed Fen Lin and said calmly, I won't tell you. Oh. Fen Lin turned around, his face became colder. Were you not afraid that I will hand over Tong Yu to you? Fear. Maybe I will kill myself before handing it over to you. And Shang looked at Fen Lin solemnly. I think something is wrong with you. I won't tell you the news. I will only tell the top management of the Hidden Legion. Fen Lin chuffed round. This man was quite intelligent. He was afraid that after receiving the news, he would kill him or hand him over to Tong Yu. In comparison, being imprisoned by the Secret Legion is actually safer. Okay, I promise. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and originally wanted to call Lanny, but after all, he is an ordinary person and it would not be safe for him. Taking Sheng with him. Then Fen Lin dialed Li Pa Chen's phone number. Boss. What do you call me? Do you want to invite me to join you? Li Pa Chen said excitedly there. Shut up. Listen to me. I have captured a 25-year-old evil spirit from the Netherlands. He said he is ready to cooperate with the country. Please inform superiors. Fen Lin sat on the sofa and scratched the white fox with one hand on the chin. He said lightly. The land of the nine netherworlds. Okay, wait a minute. Li Pa Chen hung up the phone. After a while, he called again and said that he had been asked to pick up the disha. Prepared for a helicopter. Fen Lin told Li Pa Chen the location and waited here, and Shang was also sitting on the sofa opposite, and the possibility of joining the real humans was gone. His requirements are not high now, as long as he can retire peacefully in the Hidden Legion. Thank goodness. Fen Lin looked. Is this a male or a female? The white fox was still struggling at first, but its strength was definitely no match for Fen Lin. So it's a female. Fen Lin smiled again and put the white fox on his lap. Its hair was very soft. It feels quite comfortable to rub it. By the way, do you know what other treasures your 9 nether gods have left? Treasures, and roughly guess the function of this white fox. There are centuries-old treasures of heaven and earth, and there are elixirs to increase strength. I don't know the details very well. And Shang shook his head. Our 9th sect is the weakest, and we don't know it. I know a lot about other sects. Treasures of heaven and earth, elixirs, they are all edible. Is this white fox spoiled and eaten? Just like 10 monks' meat, Fen Lin suddenly said in shock. Ouch. The little fox in his arms screamed several times, trying to break away from Fen Lin. Fen Lin's expression changed and he immediately grabbed the little fox by the back of the neck and held it in his arms. Little thing, can you understand me? After Fen Lin's reminder, and Shang felt incredible. He had been watching the fox just now and was lying calmly on the spot. Fen Lin's lap. But when he heard that Fen Lin was about to eat him, he suddenly opened his eyes and tried to escape from Fen Lin's arms. It would be nice to have a little pet that can understand. Fen Lin laughed casually. But he guessed in his heart that this fox was not simple. Maybe we can get news about the 9 nethers. After waiting here for more than half an hour, the sound of helicopters came from the sky. Shared on his phone and took and Shang to the rooftop of the family house. A large military transport plane slowly appeared in the sky. Finally, he floated into the air and opened the rear hatch. Fen Lin tucked the little fox into the collar of his coat, leaving only its cute head exposed. He grabbed and Shang by the shoulders and got into the helicopter. The plane took off and gradually stabilized. The cabin rose little by little. Li Pa Chen, who was sitting inside, immediately sat next to Fen Lin. Boss. How are you doing recently? Just normal, Fen Lin said calmly. And Shang, who was sitting opposite him, was shocked. Li Pa Chen was currently the #1 fighting force of the Hidden Legion. He didn't expect such an important fish to be called Chief Fen Lin. But this is normal. Dead Knight is an organization independent of Hidden Legion. An open master is definitely not comparable to a secret master. Boss, when did you fall in love with cute pets? This little fox is so cute. Li Pa Chen noticed the white fox leading Fen Lin and smiled and hooked the white fox's neck. After all, he is a retired old man, so he can raise some little ones and cultivate his feelings. Fen Lin looked at the fox in surprise, who did not seem to be afraid of the sound produced by the helicopter. A base somewhere in China. The transport plane lands. Fen Lin went down with the remaining 2 people. This is a wild jungle. Fen Lin took out the silver needle from Shang's body and said, I won't control you here. Thank you. And Shang nodded. He couldn't escape even here. Boss, please follow me. Li Pa Chen led the way. Fen Lin put his hands in his trouser pockets and followed Li Pa Chen. As for the white fox on his neck, the pair of strange eyes looked from left to right, looking around. Wow. It's General. It's actually Mr. Li Pa Chen, the legend of our secret army. So handsome. I heard that General Li hasn't gotten married yet and has children. It would be great if I could marry him. On the hillside in the distance, the group of people who were training were talking a lot. Li Pa Chen arrived at the mountainside. This place was similar to the previous place. All bases are hidden within the mountains. This is to avoid foreign satellite surveillance. Li Pa Chen opened the steel door here, took Fen Lin and Shang and walked deeper underground. Hey, isn't this Laocheng City? I heard that the recent mission failed again. The 3 of them were about to go down in the elevator when a woman walked from the side. She was wearing the black military uniform and military cap of the Secret Legion and looked heroic. On his shoulders he wore 4 black stars. Chapter 268 The Mysterious White Fox. Fen Lin was surprised. This position was very high. He didn't expect such a number 1 figure in the secret army to appear. At least he didn't have this person when he led that night on a mission. The other party also has powerful hidden abilities. Fen Lin couldn't see her cultivation just by looking at her. Duanzu, I have no intention of causing you trouble now. Li Pa-chen looked dejected, feeling a little embarrassed. This woman actually dared to stand in front of the boss and refuse to give him a face. You two, stop following your boss. You'd better come here and follow me. It's very embarrassing to keep failing a mission. Duanzu looked at Fen Lin and Shang with a smile and raised his fingers at them. She believed that Fen Lin and Shang were Li Pa-chen's younger brothers. Duanzu, you are so presumptuous. Li Pa-chen roared, forgetting where there was no one. The boss watched her from the side and, if she tolerated it, seemed to be afraid of her. All right. Fen Lin stretched out his hand to stop Li Pa-chen, business matters first. Okay, boss. Li Pa-chen nodded and entered the elevator leading to the subway. Duanzu, who was next to him, suddenly looked surprised and thought that he had heard wrong. The dignified Li Pa-chen actually called a young man boss. Could it be that this young man's name is Boss? The last name is Lao, the first name is Da. But even with his name, Li Pa-chen's attitude towards this young man was very respectful. She really didn't understand that Li Pa-chen was a 4 black star person like her. Its boss is the Secret Legion's top decision maker. The titles of such people are usually bosses or other respectful titles. Wait a minute. Thinking of this, Duanzu immediately ran out and put his hand on the crack of the elevator door that closed quickly. The elevator touched a foreign object and opened it again. Duanzu often with a smile, crossed his arms and leaned on the edge of the elevator, looking at Fen Lin. He also has a small fox on his neck and doesn't look like a big shot. Hey, what's your name? Duanzu looked at Fen Lin and asked. Duanzu, it's none of your business here. At your level, you are not qualified to know, Li Pa-chen said with an indifferent expression. Duanzu asked coldly, are you not qualified to know? Haha, beauty, my name is Fen Lin. Fen Lin smiled and said hello. In fact, this is normal. There are people in the place. There are rivers and lakes. Whether it's a class at school or a company workplace. The overt and covert fighting was fierce. The same goes for the Hidden Legion. Fen Lin. I've never heard of him. Why did Li Pa-chen call you boss? Are you very powerful? Duanzu asked, crossing his arms. It's not that good. I'm just an honest person. Fen Lin looked at the elevator next to him, which had now reached the bottom. Li Pa-chen went out with a few people. And Shang looked at the master and was shocked. He was at least 100 meters underground. This was the first time I had seen such a spectacular building. Li Pa-chen led the way to a steel door. When Duanzu saw this, he immediately went up to stop him. What are you doing? Even you and I can't enter the bottom at will, let alone these 2 strangers. You know what the hell? Call and ask. I already got the message, he replied. Li Pa-chen opened the steel door and in front of him was a descending staircase. Everything is made of steel, the lights are very bright, and it is no different from the outside world. Duanzu hesitated for a moment and followed a few people. Finally, everyone reached the metal space at the bottom. There is an old man sitting here. He is bald, wears a baggy tank suit, and has a benevolent gaze. When Li Pa-chen saw the old man, he immediately lowered his head respectfully. Senior Zen. Duanzu also hurriedly greeted, his face full of respect. This is a legendary member of Infernal Affairs, whose strength is among the best in the entire world. And Shang stared at the old man. He obviously seemed gentle, but he had an abyss-like pressure. Old Zen, if you have nothing to do, go out and sunbathe. If you stay here all the time, I feel a lot whiter than before. Fen Lin smiled and sat down opposite Zen Wenwen. You're brave. Duanzu noticed that Fen Lin was very rude and immediately ran over, preparing to push Fen Lin away. This is also for your own good. Zen Wenwen seemed kind-hearted, but he did not speak easily. Duanzu, who allowed you in? Zen Wenwen looked at Duanzu and said. Senior, Duanzu was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Zen Wenwen only said his name. Apparently the other 3 people had given their permission. The key is that he actually ignored Fen Lin's rude behavior. Don't scare people. He's 4 stars. He looks the same age as me and his future is limitless. Fen Lin looked at Duanzu and joked with a smile. Are you not in love with me? Zen Wenwen asked with a smile. Don't talk nonsense. You can get down to business. I'm leaving. Fen Lin waved his hand towards Zhen Wenwen. You can also listen here. Zhen Wenwen stood up and said, who has never failed. The superiors have never blamed you. Old Zhen, in fact, I have never left. Don't I still do things now? Fen Lin pointed to Wen Shang next to him. Forget it, I'm too lazy to talk to you. Zhen Wenwen waved his hand towards Fen Lin. Hey, let's go. Remember to tell me the news later. Fen Lin put his hands in his pants pockets and turned to leave. Goodbye, boss. This time his superiors also notified Li Pachen and allowed him to listen to information about Jialand. Yes, Fen Lin nodded slightly and left here. Duanzu immediately bowed to Zhen Wenwen and turned to follow Feng Lin. When he came out, Duanzu stopped him in shock. Who are you? Didn't I just say that? I am an honest man. Fen Lin closed the door and walked towards the elevator in the distance. Duanzu narrowed his eyes slightly and followed Fen Lin the entire time. The two took the elevator to the top. Then exit the cave. Duanzu still followed Fen Lin and accompanied him outside. Sudden. Duanzu attacked from behind. Fen Lin naturally noticed it, but took no action. The opponent's strength was not strong, so he could definitely hit him. So he pretended not to know and was able to save himself trouble. Oh. Fen Lin didn't move, but the little fox on his neck suddenly moved. He jumped up, jumped off the neck, stepped on Fen Lin's head, and bit Duanzu's wrist. Duanzu's eyes were shocked and he quickly backed away. Oh. The little fox fell to the ground and barked at Duanzu again. Fen Lin turned around in surprise and looked at the white fox on the ground. At that moment, he actually noticed the white fox's key fluctuations. Bai looked at Fen Lin and showed a very human smile. With a snap, it disappeared into place. Hey! What is this little fox? I seem to feel something. Duanzu raised his head, ready to ask Fen Lin, but found that Fen Lin in front of him had long since disappeared. Impossible. Duanzu's heart sank. She attacked just now, but the other party did not respond. He roughly guessed that Fen Lin should be a public official. Now he finally understood that he had made a mistake. You are so young, chatting and laughing with endless masters. Is there really such a person in the Hidden Legion? Duanzu suddenly opened his mouth wide, and a huge wave surged in his heart. Death Knight. Chapter 269 Beating the Father-in-Law. Duanzu remembered Fen Lin's previous conversation. He said he is now retired. The other party must almost certainly be Dead Knight. She hadn't been here long, she only came after Death Knight disbanded. I have heard other people talk about the legend of the Night of the Dead. Remember, they said that the boss of Dead Knight is also a Wujian master, so the person just now must be the boss of Dead Knight. Duanzu looked around, searching for Fen Lin. Today he wanted to see how powerful this legendary Death Doctor really was. The white fox quickly crossed the forest and ran for a long distance before turning around to see if anyone could catch up with him. He also breathed a sigh of relief when he found that no one was following him. Just as he was about to lie down on the ground and rest for a while, he found Fen Lin standing in front of him. Oh! The white fox was so scared that it immediately turned around and jumped away. However, Fen Lin grabbed him from behind and lifted him up with one hand. Indeed, it is a treasure. It can understand people's words and still has ki in it. Fen Lin stared at the little thing in front of him and said lightly, "But you can't speak. It's a pity." I picked up the little fox and prepared a return. When he arrived at the previous training place, Duanzu immediately ran over, looked at Fen Lin and asked, "You're the Doctor of Death." "You made a mistake." "I didn't." Fen Lin smiled and waved his hand. "You're Dr. Doom. Come duel. Let me see if you're as good as those people boast." Duanzu did not give Fen Lin a chance to respond. He walked towards him, his eyes filled with golden light. Fen Lin stood there, a little surprised. No wonder he dared to mock Li Pachen in person. It turned out that she had also entered the divine orifice realm. "I will not be merciful." Duanzu shouted loudly, shaking his fist as the wind roared around him. Broken. Fen Lin didn't know when he had already crouched down behind Duanzu and slapped his butt. Duanzu's face suddenly turned red and he was so embarrassed that he was almost smoking. "You bastard! You bastard!" Duanzu turned around and kicked him. Fen Lin tripped Duanzu's other leg. Hit. Duanzu's legs flew through the air and fell to the ground suddenly. "Stop making trouble, I admit defeat." Fen Lin tucked the little fox into his neck again and reached out to pick up Duanzu. Duanzu slapped the hand of Fen Lin, who stood up from the ground and looked at Fen Lin. "It's really amazing. Come back." The ground shattered under his feet and Duanzu attacked Fen Lin again. Fen Lin had no time to waste on her. I could only think of a solution once and for all. Looking at the opponent's long legs, Fen Lin grabbed them with one hand and raised them suddenly. Click. Duanzu's crotch opened, revealing the bare pants underneath. Isn't that right? You're so old, but you still have a childlike innocence. Fen Lin let go of Duanzu with a smile. You, Duanzu was so embarrassed that he immediately knelt on the ground and shouted angrily. Asshole. I won't let you go. Obviously it was you who fought with me, but in the end it was up to me. Fen Lin smiled and turned around. Head towards the helicopter in the distance. Duanzu looked at the plane taking off, quickly took off his shirt, wrapped it around his waist, and hurriedly left with a blushing face. Goshy. Fen Lin returned to the hotel. Come to the room. Sikon Jin and Wu Huang were still sitting here chatting. How are you doing? Sikon Jin saw Fen Lin coming in and asked calmly. Almost, Fen Lin roughly told them what happened. Okay, then we can go back. Sikon Jin nodded and looked at Fifth Hong next to him, and Hong, come with me now, real humans are our common enemy, I will continue. We are undercover here to provide you information. Fifth Red thought a lot and now learned that Sikon Jin is still alive and has become a member of Dead Knight that the organization True Human fears. She was very happy. The real humans took them away from their parents and killed so many innocent people. She must avenge this. It can also be considered her life's goal. I promise you, sooner or later the True Humans will be eliminated. Sikon Jin nodded heavily. Before I leave, I will take care of the spiritual realm here first. Fen Lin left the room with a smile and headed towards the stairs. The aura remained in the room and did not come out. Feel the other person's specific location, always 3 levels below her. Sikon Jin and Fifth Hong followed Fen Lin. Arriving in front of the opponent's room, Fen Lin became aside and let Wu Huang stand in the cat's eye position. Everyone in Jialan knows them, so an unrelated person can make the other party relax their vigilance. The Fifth Heart understood. He stood in front. At the door, he knocked on the door and called, hello. After a pause of a few seconds, the door of this room opened. This is a middle-aged man, with half-white hair and flat-rimmed glasses. Is something wrong? Fen Lin, who was hiding next to him, walked out, suddenly grabbed the man by the collar and pushed him to the ground. The silver needle in his hand quickly penetrated the opponent's body. Who are you? The middle-aged man was surprised. This young man was so powerful that he could not use ki. Don't pretend, don't you know me? Fen Lin sneered and slapped the other person. Behind them, Sikon Jin and Wu Huang entered and closed the door. How do I know you? Who are you? The middle-aged man shouted with anger in his eyes. Aren't you from Jialand? Fen Lin found himself refusing to let go and asked strangely. The land of the 9 netherworlds. Don't be ridiculous. I am from the Zhang family, a hidden family. My name is Zhang Yu. The middle-aged man reached out and took out his wallet and handed it to him. To Fen Lin. Fen Lin handed the wallet to Sikon Jin next to him. Sikon Jin opened it, took out his ID card from inside, and nodded towards Fen Lin. It is indeed Zhang Yu, Zhang's hidden family. Fen Lin frowned slightly. He seemed to have heard of it, and it was a powerful hidden family. We are members of the Hidden Legion. Generally, the hidden family in the country have files. I will investigate. Fen Lin let go of Zhang Yu and took out his mobile phone to call Lanny. Lan connected immediately. Knowing that Lanny knew Zhang Yu from the Zhang family, Fen Lin turned on the speaker. Is it Zhang? I'm Lanny. Mr. Lan. I was caught by the Secret Legion. Zhang Yu said immediately. Haha. Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. Lanny heard the familiar voice and immediately said, Fen Lin, you have arrested the wrong person. Fuck. After hearing this, Fen Lin immediately helped Zhang Yu up and hugged him. They removed the needle from his body. Your name is Fen Lin. Who are you, Fen Chen? Zhang Yu suddenly asked in a deep voice. He's my father. Fen Lin quickly shook the dust off Zhang Yu's body. Haha, I'm sorry for slapping you. Are you Fen Chen's son? Zhang Yu's eyes widened. Yes, sir, do you know my father? Fen Lin quickly changed the subject and told him not to worry about slapping him. Not bad, not bad. Zhang Yu crossed his arms and looked at Fen Lin with a smile in his eyes. This kind of smile gave Fen Lin goosebumps, who slapped him, but he still smiled very happily. Do you have any special hobbies? Although her background is not that good, she is hardly worthy of my daughter, Zhang Yu asked calmly. You guys don't know each other yet. Let's take the time to talk about marriage. Fen Lin looked confused. They hit him, father-in-law. Chapter 270. Only in desperate situations can we grow. Zhang Yu has always felt that no man is worthy of his daughter. At first, Fen Lin, her fiancé, thought it was nonsense. What if she is ugly, weak or has a bad character? On the other hand, my daughter is beautiful and strong. He even wanted to break the engagement. But I met him today and found out that this Feng was pretty good. He has an average appearance and is tall. The key is his own strength, which is very strong. He has recently entered the middle divine orifice stage. But Fen Lin was able to stop him in no time. That strength is at least the intermediate peak of Shenqiao, or even the late stage. At this age, how many people in China can achieve such great achievements? Haha, it turns out to be Uncle. I'm sorry. I have a mission here, so I won't bother you. Fen Lin held his hands embarrassedly and prepared to retreat first. Leave your contact information. It's best to add WeChat first. I will send you my daughter's WeChat, Zhang Yu said. All right. Fen Lin couldn't refuse, so he had no choice but to leave his contact information and WeChat with Zhang Yu. Then he took a few people and left. Returning to his room, Fen Lin said helplessly, "Okay, this mission is complete, it's time to go." Wu Hong also exchanged contact information with Fen Lin. Fen Lin will also be notified of any actual human actions in the future. After Fifth Hong left, Fen Lin Ye and Sakam Jin went to Wuling Huangwen to prepare to return to Yin City. "Aren't you going to hear someone say goodbye?" Sakam Jin sat in the passenger seat and looked at Fen Lin. "Forget it." Fen Lin shook his head slightly, originally planning to break off the engagement with Wen Renjia. It is better not to go there to have a sense of presence. On the way, Fen Lin suddenly asked, "I rarely hear you mention the past, and I have never asked, who was this real human being?" Sakam Jin held her delicate cheeks with his jade hands, thinking about the past. The first was the war of aggression of an island country, in which human bodies were used for experiments and heinous crimes were committed. The island country was subsequently defeated and all this data was collected by the United States. Finally, due to pressure from world public opinion, these experiments were cancelled. However, the data fell into the hands of a group of ancient warriors for some unknown reason. Its goal is to integrate key of genetic modification. Create real humans, true overlords of the earth. Therefore, this group of people called their organization True Humanity. They committed all kinds of evil, collected human bodies from all over the world, and killed countless people in disguise. Sakam Jin and Wu Huang were his test specimens. Japanese pirates deserve to die. After Fen Lin heard this, his eyes gradually showed murderous intent. This kind of organization is more cruel than Jialand. Not to mention that it was for the fourth son. Even without him, Fen Lin planned to destroy them. Suddenly, Fen Lin felt his neck move and then remembered that there was a little fox on his neck. Cloud City. Fen Lin drove the car to the parking lot in front of the villa. Sakam Jin jumped out of the car and walked towards the villa. Fen Lin followed him. "Boss. Don't call me when you're on a mission." Humph. As soon as Fen Lin appeared, Ogata Jinguji approached from afar with his mouth bulging. Suddenly, he saw the little fox on Fen Lin's neck and hugged him immediately. "It's so cute." Yan Yuibai, who was painting in the distance, also dropped his brush and trotted over. "Is this a fox?" "It's actually a fox." Strange eyes. The two girls rubbed the little fox, making the little fox look displeased. He extended his claws towards Fen Lin, as if asking for help. Very human. "Be careful, don't let him run away." After Fen Lin finished speaking, he walked towards Men Changsheng and sat on the back of his wheelchair. Men Changsheng smoked his pipe and asked, "What is it like? Did you find any treasure?" "It's this little fox. It's one of the 9 treasures left by the god of the 9 netherworlds. It can understand human speech and can also use ki," Fen Lin explained as he looked at the little fox pressed to the ground and he did. "Shit. This fox has turned into a sperm." "Fuck," Men Changsheng sighed while smoking. "I also received news that the leadership of the 9th sect was obtained." Fen Lin said this and looked at the people around him. "I'm going to lead them to destroy the 9th sect." "The 9th sect gate. Do you want me to come in?" Men Changsheng asked with a smile. "No, you taught me that you can only grow if you're in a desperate situation." Fen Lin walked towards Jinguji Hui. He leaned down and picked up the little fox. "I'll leave for a while and bring him back later." After saying that, Fen Lin returned to Zhu Ruan's villa. He came to the living room, lay down on the sofa, and turned the little fox upside down. "There's no one else here now. If I ask you something, just nod if you want and shake your head if you don't. Do you understand?" Fen Lin pointed to the tip of the little fox's nose. The little fox didn't move at all, it just lay on Fen Lin's belly. "I don't know if fox meat is better stewed or steamed." Fen Lin grabbed the little fox's front paws and walked towards the kitchen. The little fox struggled to panic and nodded vigorously. "That's it." Fen Lin returned to the sofa and asked calmly, "Are you planning to escape today? Are you escaping back to the 9 nethers?" The little fox looked at Fen Lin with his strange eyes and shook his head. Humanely he shakes his head. Isn't your home in the land of Jiao? Fen Lin asked. The little fox shook his head again. Fen Lin was a little surprised. Your house is not in Jiao land. Why is it his baby? Are you arrested? The little fox nodded vigorously. Fen Lin's eyes lit up and he suddenly asked, can you write? The little fox shook his head. Grandpa, what's the use? Fen Lin sighed softly. Took out a sausage from the refrigerator and handed it to the little fox. Eat it. The little fox sniffed it first, then immediately bit it with his mouth and jumped up. Go to the table and eat. At this moment, his cell phone rang. Fen Lin took it out and looked at it. It was Zhu Ruan's phone. Fen Lin immediately answered the call. What's wrong? King seems to be missing and can't be contacted. Zhu Ruan's voice was a little urgent. What? Fen Lin immediately stood up from the sofa. Are you in the company now? I'll be there right away. Before leaving, Fen Lin deliberately opened the door of the living room and said to the little fox, since you were caught by them, I will release you now. After saying that, Fen Lin drove to Zhu Ruan's company. The little fox looked at Fen Lin, then lowered his head and ate the sausage calmly. Zhu Ruan's company. Fen Lin arrived at the top floor and entered Zhu Ruan's office. When Zhu Ruan saw Fen Lin appear, she immediately stepped forward and grabbed his arm. King went to another company to talk business this morning, but still can't get in touch. Fen Lin asked. Exquisite electrical appliances. Zhu Ruan's pretty face was a little nervous. I already contacted them and they also investigated the cameras. King left before noon. Fen Lin took out his mobile phone and made a call to Zhao King first. No one managed to get through. Fen Lin immediately turned around and left. Don't worry, I'll go to the police station to check out. Okay. Zhu Ruan nodded. Chapter 271. This life is not in vain. Before Fen Lin went to the police station, he sent a text message to Shamu. This kind of work of calling cameras has always been troublesome for Li Jun, and Fen Lin also feels embarrassed. I heard that Shamu was still at the police station and will get off work soon. Fen Lin couldn't help but speed up. At the police station, Fen Lin told Shamu roughly what happened. Shamu nodded and murmured, Jinjiang Electrical Appliance Group, on East Road. He knocked on the nearby camera and saw the door of the company. Shamu changed the time to this morning. Around 10 o'clock, I saw Zhao King take a taxi and enter the company. Until around 11:30, Zhao King took her bag and left by car. Shamu memorized the license plate number of the taxi, and through Yan City's Sky system, he discovered that the taxi had headed to the suburbs outside Yan City. Then he left the camera sites. I will investigate this license plate number immediately, Shamu said in a deep voice. Thank you. I will search for that location first. If you have any news, please let me know immediately. Fen Lin got up and left. It was getting dark. It's even harder to find at night. If he stays overnight, Zhao King is likely to find something unexpected. Fen Lin drove to the suburban road and followed it slowly, looking outside. King is a smart girl, I hope you can let me know, right? Fen Lin followed this path until he found Yanghai, but there was no trace. Finally, at 7 o'clock in the evening, Shamu called Fen Lin. Fen Lin, outside Yan City, subordinate Nankin's camera found this car, Shamu said to Fen Lin. Okay. I'll be there right away, thank you. Fen Lin drove there immediately. Nowadays, cameras really work. He also thinks that in the future he will make some decorations with trackers for the people around him so that it will be easier to find them in the future. You have offended so many people and you should always consider the safety of those around you. Nankin 2 Factory. A bald man was sitting on a sofa, smoking a cigarette and looking at the people below with indifferent eyes. Most of them are children and the adults are old women, with regular features and beautiful appearance. Zhao King was standing in the crowd. Hello, you can call me Brother Gwyn. Welcome to our better clan. The bald man looked at the people around him and greeted a short-haired woman with a smile. The short-haired woman was so scared that she was trembling, but she still said tremblingly, What are you going to do? Be careful, I'll call the police. Phew. The bald man threw a flying knife and accurately stabbed the woman in the neck. Blood spilled onto the ground. Hit. The woman fell to the ground, lifeless. A strong man came from the side, carried the woman's body, and turned to leave. The rest of the people around him screamed in fear. As for the children here, cry loudly. They are ordinary people, when have they seen such a scene? These are the consequences of disobeying me. Brother Gwyn looked at the people below with a calm face. Now that you're here with us, don't even think about going out again. Zhao King lowered her head and clenched her fists. Fists in his body trembled. His mobile phone was confiscated and now there's no way to notify Fen Lin and Mr. Zhu. Next, tell me your mission. Children break their hands and legs and go to different places to beg. When you see rich people, hug them and cry. After that, a teacher will teach you, Brother Gwyn continued here. To the adult women present, with a smile on her face, you two need training on how to serve men. Everyone below was so scared that their faces turned purple, and they didn't expect to be caught in the hands of such a bully. Many adult women began to cry. Suddenly, Brother Gwyn pointed his finger at Zhao King in the crowd, "Come out." Zhao King's face turned pale and she felt as if her heart was going to jump. Remembering the death of the previous woman, he still lowered his head and walked out. "Raise your head," Brother Gwyn said with a smile. Zhao King did as she was told. "Yes, she stands out from the crowd. She is so beautiful." Brother Gwyn smiled and nodded, "Come with me today and I will give you some guidance." "I don't need guidance," Zhao King said tremblingly. "I have 5. All my boyfriends have lived with them." "Damn, you seem pretty innocent. I didn't expect you to be so promiscuous." Brother Gwyn pointed at Zhao King and said, "Leave me. See how your skills are tonight." Zhao King clutched the corners of her mouth tightly and blood slowly flowed out. "Even if she dies, that person will not defile her. The rest of you, just lie down and sleep on the spot. If they work hard, they may yet see the light of day again. That will become a glorious experimental topic." Brother Gwyn smiled and looked at Zhao King, shaking his fingers towards him, "Follow me." Zhao King followed Brother Gwyn, trying to calm her breathing. As long as she doesn't resist and pretend to cooperate, he can even kill this person. During this time, he often talked to Zhu Ruoying and was no longer as cowardly as before. If he could kill this person, he could use the other person's phone number to notify Feng. Lin if they couldn't kill him, Zhao King smiled bitterly, feeling helpless. Maybe his life is so humble. The only option is to have a better family background in the next life and marry Feng Lin. Zhao King seemed to have grown 10 years old. Facing the baptism of death always makes people mature quickly. With gloomy eyes, he followed Brother Gwyn into the room. This place is inside the factory and the decoration is similar to that of the room. Run-of-the-mill hotel standard. As soon as Brother Gwyn came in, he couldn't wait to grab Zhao King's shoulders. "I'm going to fight you for 300 rounds today. Brother Gwyn, don't worry, we have plenty of time, let's take a shower first." Zhao King was extremely displeased in her heart, but she had a smile on her face. "Hey. Wash together." Brother Gwyn showed a lewd smile, took Zhao King's hand and entered the bathroom. Zhao King took the initiative to untie Brother Gwyn's clothes. In this way she took the initiative into her own hands. First take off the other person's clothes. In this situation almost all men will cooperate. In this way, the other party will not take any other actions for the time being. Taking off his shirt, Zhao King saw many throwing knives inside his clothes. It was the hidden weapon he used to kill people before. Zhao King pretended to fold the clothes, but actually secretly took one in her hand. He looked at Brother Gwyn with a smile and actively opened his arms. "Brother Gwyn, I took a piece of clothing from you, do you want to help me too?" "Good boy, it seems that I need the help of Viagra today." Brother Gwyn grabbed Zhao King's work uniform with a lascivious smile on his face. Zhao King pretended to put her hands around the other person's neck. Brush. The flying knife pierced the opponent's neck without hesitation. Brother Gwyn looked at him in disbelief. Normally, women would be too scared to move on this occasion. He had never encountered such a cruel person. "Bitch. Die. Go to hell." Zhao King was so nervous that her own hand was cut off by a flying knife, but she continued stabbing our opponent's body. In the end, Brother Gwyn fell. Blood flowed all over the ground. Zhao King sat on the ground exhausted, panting heavily. Looking at the scene in front of her, she shed 2 lines of tears and her entire body trembled. I killed someone, and this feeling, it doesn't matter. After all, I protected my most precious thing. Zhao King threw the flying knife. Her eyes were pale, as if she had lost her soul. She looked at the scars on her hands and muttered to herself, "Oh, I'm not willing to die like this." He took out his mobile phone from the other party's pocket and originally wanted to call Yao Yaoling, but in the end he dialed the first number of Feng Lin's mobile phone. "Before you give up, you must at least give him your body. This life is not in vain." Suddenly, he heard a buzzing sound and Zhao King turned around suddenly. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic Novellas, we cordially invite you to visit our channel. There you will find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 272 I'm going to give up. Zhao King saw Feng Lin in front of her, cried and ran to hug him. He put his head in Feng Lin's arms and cried loudly. Fen Lin gently stroked the hair of Zhao King, who was in the factory just now and couldn't find her whereabouts. But when he smelled blood, he immediately walked over to observe, and sure enough, he saw Zhao King. He thought it was Zhao King who was injured before, but he didn't expect someone else to die. Fen Lin, I killed someone. Zhao King's voice trembled. Fen Lin, comforted with a smile, found a piece of gauze in the drawer next to him, and bandaged Zhao King's hand. Fen Lin, Zhao King burst into tears. She had graduated and knew the law. Even if someone kills someone by mistake, they can be locked up for 10 years. By then, my youth may be gone. Stop crying. Fen Lin smiled and wiped Zhao King's tears. Just rest for a while and get some sleep. Well, today I want to sleep with you. Zhao King wiped her eyes with her sleeves and looked at Feng. Lin said. Okay, you ate for me first, I'll take care of the body. Fen Lin nodded with a smile. He thought it was a normal dream. After all, I have slept with Jingu GQ or Zuruan like this. Zhao King nodded with a slightly red face. Fen Lin came to the bathroom and stepped on the bald man's body, and a dark red light instantly spread throughout his body. In a moment, the body disappeared. Fen Lin turned on the shower head and washed away the blood, leaving nothing behind. He took out his cell phone and first informed Zhu Ruan that he was safe. He sent another message to Zhang Mu, telling him that he had found it. Let her go home and rest first. Let's talk about things here until the next day. He went to the factory just now and found that the people here were very disciplined. He didn't do anything inappropriate to other women. After everything was settled, Fen Lin approached Zhao King with a smile, ready to comfort her. Zhao King's body was now covered, only her pure red cheeks were exposed. Seeing Fen Lin come in, Zhao King said timidly, "Turn off the lights." "All right." Fen Lin nodded and turned off the lights in the room. He simply took off his shirt and got into bed. Suddenly, Fen Lin's expression changed and he immediately lifted the quilt. Zhao King hurriedly hugged Fen Lin and pulled down the quilt. King, put on your clothes." Before Fen Lin could finish his words, he was blocked by Zhao King. She was crazy and used all her experience on Fen Lin. She laughed and cried. "If you kill someone yourself, if you are sentenced to death, your life will not be in vain." If she was locked up for 10 years, she wouldn't have the shame of staying by Fen Lin's side after she came out. She will choose a quiet place to die alone. Fen Lin looked at Zhao King, who was sleeping soundly in his arms, with tears in the corners of his eyes. He shook his head helplessly. King didn't know where he learned the technique. Although crude, it is very daring. Fen Lin also felt a little tired, so he closed his eyes. 4 in the morning. It was still dark, so Zhao King quietly got up and wiped away her tears while dressing. He felt that leaving Fen Lin asleep was the best option. He was going to turn himself in at a small police station. After getting dressed, he looked at Fen Lin, who was sleeping soundly, gave him a soft kiss on the cheek, and smiled. "Fen Lin, goodbye." "Where are you going?" Fen Lin grabbed Zhao King's wrist and opened his eyes. "You're awake." Zhao King's little hand trembled and wanted to move away, but Fen Lin held her tightly. Foolishness. Fen Lin pulled Zhao King into his arms with a strong pull. "Where are you going?" Zhao King whispered, "I'm going to surrender. I killed someone who said something about you." "You killed someone?" Fen Lin asked with a smile. I know you are comforting me, but it is a fact that I killed someone, and you will always find it in me." Zhao King lowered her head and rested it on Fen Lin's chest. "Fen Lin, I am like a disaster star. Since I was a child, you are the only one who has given me true tenderness, and that is enough for me." Fen Lin sighed deeply. This Zhao King is always so self-deprecating. Instead, he hoped that Zhao King could have Zhu Ruan's character. "You are enough, I am not enough." Fen Lin smiled and nodded to Zhao King's forehead. "Take out the wallet from the inside pocket of my jacket." "Oh." Zhao King nodded and took out the black wallet from inside his jacket. Fen Lin took the wallet and took out a red ID. "Do you know what this is?" "What is this?" Zhao King carefully looked at the stamped information and asked strangely. "This thing is a nickname, called anti-injury armor," Fen Lin said with a smile. "During my mission, no matter who dares to impede me complete my mission, I can legally eliminate them." Zhao King covered her head. Zhou in disbelief. No wonder Fen Lin has a gun on his body. "But, I killed this person." He lowered his head and whispered, "Who said you killed someone?" "Who saw it?" "Obviously I killed this person." Fen Lin calmly put the ID back into his wallet. Zhao King's eyes flashed with surprise. "Fen Lin, in other words, will I be okay? Will you be fine too? Not only will you be fine, but you will also be praised. These people are bad people." You'll be fine by dawn. Understood. Fen Lin hugged Zhao King again and said with a smile, "Tell me, where did you learn so much, damn girl?" Disgusting. Zhao King no longer had the face to see anyone. She was so embarrassed that she buried her in Fen Lin's arms. "Say it quickly." Fen Lin tickled Zhao King. When I was in college, someone found a movie in the dormitory and I accidentally watched it. Zhao King's face looked like it was cooked. "I hate you. I'm ignoring you." Fen Lin smiled and hugged Zhao King, looking at the ceiling. Zhao King actually got ahead of 10 fiancés. "Fen Lin, don't worry, I won't tell Mr. Zhu about this," Zhao King said, leaning on Fen Lin's arm. "What the hell? King, why do I feel like you are threatening me?" Fen Lin suddenly looked at Zhao King with a smile. "I did all this alone and I'm a sensible person." When Zhao King said this, she suddenly paused. "But if one day I take the initiative, I will tell Mr. Zhu." King. Is this really your conspiracy? Fen Lin remembered Zhu Ruang's previous quotes about the scumbag. First give a man sweetness and then you can control him. Isn't this what Zhao King is doing now? Serve Fen Lin once and let him enjoy the fun, and then wait for Fen Lin to take the bait. Sleep. Zhao King closed her eyes again, her hanging heart still not calming down. At least until dawn, the people at the police station can confirm. Who has not broken the law? At 8 o'clock in the morning when Fen Lin received Zhamu's text message, he immediately got up and told him the location. "Now you can come here and arrest people." To Fen Lin, immediately took the scissors and cut the plum blossom mark on the sheets. "Fold it and put it in your pocket. Open the door quickly." The people from the police station surrounded our factory. Fen Lin was washing when he suddenly heard a man scream outside. Chapter 273. If you want to say this, I won't be sleepy anymore. Fen Lin stepped forward and opened the door. Outside was a strong man wearing short sleeves. "Boss, come on, I'll clean it up." "Who are you?" "It's your grandfather." Fen Lin kicked him out. The strong man's body flew upside down and hit the wall behind him. Fen Lin grabbed his collar and looked at Zhao King. King, let's go." "All right." Zhao King hurriedly followed Fen Lin. When he went downstairs, he felt a little pain in his legs. But she still suppressed it and didn't show it. "I still don't know how to face Mr. Zhu in the future. She is a kind-hearted woman who always feels that she has become a lover. The key is that Mr. Zhu is kind to her." He sighed deeply and could only take one step at a time. Fen Lin held the strong man's neck and quickly headed to the factory warehouse. The people imprisoned here have not yet been separated and many of them are mentally depressed. "I did not sleep all night." Boom. At this moment, the factory door opened and police officers entered. Among them, the one who rushed to the front was Zhamu. She had a firearm in her hand, signaling the people behind her to take control of the fortress. "The police are here. They are here to save us. Help. Help." Everyone here cried excitedly when they saw the uniformed police officers. Fen Lin didn't do anything extra. The people here are very professional. In 3 strikes, 5 divided by 2, all the murderers were arrested. As for those who tried to escape by jumping over the wall, there were police officers waiting for them outside. I didn't expect that I had solved an important case and there were so many people. Zhamu looked around excitedly. "By the way, the boss here wants to kill Zhao King, but I already killed him." "Just report it truthfully." Fen Lin walked up to Zhamu and said with a smile. "It's okay, you have nothing to do here. You can go back." Zhamu, immersed in the joy of solving the case, greeted Fen Lin. Zhao King, who was next to Fen Lin, looked confused. Is this the end? He suddenly felt that he had given Fen Lin the most precious thing. It is a loss. She was really willing to give her body to him knowing that she would die. In the end, it was just a simple sentence and it was over. King, let's go." Fen Lin took Zhao King away. There was no atmosphere of ancient warriors here. People like Zhamu were completely capable of handling it. "Take Zhao King to Wolinghornwing." Fen Lin pulled her back. On the way, Fen Lin smiled and said, "I want to thank Zhu Ruang for coming back this time. She called me when she found out that you never came back." "Yeah." Hearing this, Zhao King felt even more guilty. She was very confused in her heart, whether she should tell Mr. Zhu about this or not. If I don't tell her, she will feel very uncomfortable and will always feel sorry for others. Tell him that Zhu Ruang will definitely go crazy and won't be able to do his job. "Fen Lin, what is our relationship now?" Zhao King suddenly asked. But after asking, he regretted it. He felt like he was biting his nose. If they could become husband and wife just by sleeping together, it would be too simple. I don't know how many women sleep with high-status men. In the end, what you get in return may simply be a promotion and salary increase. What do you think the relationship is? Lin asked. We are friends. You have helped me a lot and I will sleep with you as a reward. This is the kind of relationship. Zhao King lowered her head and whispered. Lin did not speak, he had not thought much before. After Zhao King's reminder, especially since it was his first time, he felt it was time to express his stance. Give me a day and I will answer your question very seriously. Lin felt that the life he longed for was broken by reality. His idea was very simple. He would find a beautiful town in the future and quietly enjoy family happiness with his wife. But in the current situation, it seems that he can't do it. When he returns, he should discuss with his father and a second master what course he should take. Lin sent Zhao King back to her apartment, told her to take a good rest, and left. Drove back to the villa. Zhu Wang hadn't gone to work yet and was having breakfast. Seeing Lin coming in, he hurriedly asked, Is King okay? She's fine. She was kidnapped by a group of pyramid schemes. I got her back. Lin lay back on the sofa and covered his eyes with his back. From his hands. That's good. King has strong learning ability and has done well in several business negotiations. I'm going to let her be my secretary. She can help me with things and I can train at ease. After Zhu Wang finished eating, she suddenly said, That's right, there is a little fox in your room. Isn't he gone yet? Lin stood up in surprise, clearly leaving a space for him to leave. Furthermore, he can use key, so he can easily get out even if there's no crack in the door. When he arrived at his room, he found the little fox sleeping on Lin's quilt. The little fox heard someone come in, looked up, and then lay down again. Why do not you go? Lin also lay down and asked calmly, then shook his head, I forgot that you are mute. Hearing the sound of Zhu Wang driving towards the company, Lin also took out his mobile phone and called Lin. Make a phone call. The King magnate made him a little tangled. What's wrong? I'm still awake. Chen's voice was a little dazed. Let me ask you something, if I sleep with a woman who was not my fiancée, no. Lin changed his words slightly. If a woman, who was not my fiancée, takes the initiative to sleep with me, how should I face her? He really refused at first, but what Zhao King learned was exactly the routine from the movie. After several attacks, if he refuses again, he will no longer be a man. After all, he likes to be passive. If you want to say this, I won't be sleepy anymore. Chen's voice suddenly became serious and he asked calmly, Is this the first time for this woman? Yeah. Lin nodded. Then why are you still standing there? Marry her at home and be her wife. Chen scolded, Don't be a bastard. I'll give you the most precious thing to show that I love you. Then if I get married, what will happen to these fiancés? Have they all retired? Lin asked. This, you asked about my knowledge blind spot. I only have one wife, your mother. She is still my first love. Chen smiled there. Damn it. Isn't all this trouble because of you? Lin rolled his eyes. I have a proposal. Chen's voice suddenly became solemn. Tell me, you are my father after all. I really don't know what to do, so I will listen to you. Lin said lightly. After all, he is a father, so he can't fool himself. Call all your fiancés here and tell them in front of them that I love them all. Let's see which one of them is willing to stay. Then you will marry all of them. Chen's idea is easy to understand. He is willing to stay as, it proves that he doesn't care if Lin has other women. Those who are not willing to stay will not be forced to do so. After all, they are engaged, not married. That's one way. I'll talk to the second master later. You can go to bed first. After saying this, Lin hung up the phone. He suddenly felt someone staring at him and found the little fox next to him looking at Lin with contempt. He barely uttered the word garbage. Chapter 274. You can't break the engagement. Lin pulled the little fox's big tail and stood up to find the second master. Arriving at the villa, diagonally across the gate, the second master was admiring the flowers in the garden. The others probably hadn't gotten up yet. Second master, if a woman is not my fiancée, I want them all. Cheng directly interrupted Lin, I don't understand. Don't you like pretty girls? Lin lowered his head. He rubbed his head in embarrassment and said, I like it. Isn't it great? With your strength, you can create your own hidden family. As long as you don't force others and be happy. Together, who will say something about you? Cheng slapped Lin. He shrugged and sighed deeply. Hey, it's my fault too. I taught you to have such a correct perspective on life. Other people with your chance to have their wife start a football team. Okay. I listened to the second master. Fen Lin nodded. He was ready to try a change. Just as he was about to return to Zhu Ruan's villa, Fen Lin's WeChat message rang. He opened it and took a look. It was the news. From Zhang Yu from before. He passed someone's WeChat ID to Fen Lin. The name is Sister, don't ask for help. Send another voice message to Fen Lin. Fen Lin opened it and a voice came out. Fen Lin, this is my daughter's WeChat account. His name is Zhang Banksia. Add her and chat with her if you have nothing to do. Fen Lin replied saying received. I just added this woman. The other party also passed away immediately and it seemed like Zhang Yu had also given an explanation. Zhang Banksia quickly typed. Height, weight, cultivation level into full body photo. I am a beauty-loving person, not ugly. Should I? When Fen Lin saw this sentence, he always felt that the other party was rude. In terms of temperament, Fen Lin was not to his liking, so he was straight to the point. I have 10 fiancés. Are you willing to marry me and live with me along with your 9 sisters? Silly beep, get out. Fen Lin became angry when he saw the other party's 3 short words. Grandpa, Daddy scold me. He sat on the stone pier next to him and wrote quickly with both hands. Fen Lin. Who was Silly Beep talking about? Zhang Banksia. Silly Beep is talking about you. Fen Lin. Oh. So Silly Beep is talking about me. Zhang Banksia. You're paralyzed. I'm your mother. Fen Lin immediately responded. I found that the other party had blocked him and he couldn't receive any messages. I'm so angry, Fen Lin added to the other person, ready to scold him. But the other party was not according to the request and Fen Lin's message could not be sent. She calmed down and thought it was better to forget it. There was no need to be angry with those people. Lady among everyone, I didn't expect him to be full of bad words. I don't want this kind of person back in the villa. Fen Lin lay on the sofa, thinking about the next few days. This time, he planned to call everyone else except to the second master to have a good fight. However, before that, let's first resolve Zhao King's matter. Fen Lin drove to Zhu Ruan's company and met Tang Hong, who was talking in the lobby. And there are no clients. Normally companies have this type of morning meetings in the morning. Fen Lin nodded towards Tang Hong and boarded the elevator. Arriving at the president's office, Fen Lin opened the door and entered directly. Discovering that Zhao King was standing here, Zhu Ruan sat on the boss's chair with a gloomy expression, holding her chin with both hands. What's wrong? Fen Lin felt that the atmosphere was not right and asked with a smile. I asked King to be my secretary, but she didn't agree, Zhu Ruan said coldly. She also said she was ready to resign. Resign? Where are you going to resign? Fen Lin grabbed Zhao King's arm and asked. I have many ways to support myself. Zhao King thought hard when she returned and felt even more sorry for Zhu Ruan. Especially Zhu Ruan was very kind to her, but she poached him. He originally wanted to tell the truth about the matter, but he was afraid of damaging the relationship between Zhu Ruan and Fen Lin. The easiest way is to leave it yourself. Is it because of this? Fen Lin asked. No. Zhao King immediately denied it. What's your business? What's wrong with you? Zhu Ruan narrowed her eyes and asked coldly. Mr. Zhu, there is nothing between us. I feel too tired from work and want to change to something more relaxed, Zhao King hurriedly explained. HNPH. Do you still want to lie to me? Zhu Ruan looked at Fen Lin coldly. What happened between you two? We slept last night, Fen Lin explained. That. Zhu Ruan slammed her hands on the table and stood up suddenly. Zhao King said heavily. Her eyes were slightly red, but she could only tell the story now. Including his murder. It was because he killed someone with this idea. Otherwise, he had no intention of handing over his precious things like this. After hearing all this, Zhu Ruan pursed her lips and her eyes turned slightly red. She immediately got up and ran away. Fen Lin stood in front of Zhu Ruan and grabbed her arm. Where are you going? Do you mind? Zhu Ruan shrugged hers unknowingly. She felt very uncomfortable. Because there was a reason why he couldn't beat Zhao King. But what woman wouldn't be sad if your best friend slept with her man? Put yourself in the other's place. If a man's good brother sleeps with his wife, who can keep calm? Mr. Zhu, it's all my fault. I was the one who connected with Fen Lin. Fen Lin tried his best to oppose it at the beginning, all because of me. Zhao King shouted and knelt on the ground. I didn't want to see you like that, so I stayed silent and chose exit. Let me go. Zhu Ruan wiped away her tears and pinched Fen Lin's hand tightly. Fen Lin didn't react at all. He held Zhu Ruan in his arms and hugged her tightly with both hands. Let me go. I want to be quiet. Zhu Ruan continued to struggle. Fen Lin took a deep breath and said to Zhao King, King, you go out first. I'll talk to Mr. Zhu about what's on your mind. Yeah. Zhao King wiped away her tears, turned around and left, closing the door. Seeing that there were no outsiders here, Zhu Ruang bit Fen Lin's arm. Fen Lin did not need to go or struggle. After biting for a while, Zhu Ruang found that Fen Lin was unresponsive, so she let go of him and said coldly, let me go, I still have to work. Because of Zhao King, I consulted my father. HNPH. You, Dad, that old bastard. I get angry when I mention it. Zhu Ruang said coldly. My dad gave me an idea. Fen Lin told Zhu Ruang exactly what Fen Chen meant. Hearing this, Zhu Ruang said blankly, in other words, if you marry someone who doesn't care that you have other women, then I care about divorce, that's all. That's what it means. Marriage is for both men and women. As long as the woman, if you don't agree, you can cancel the engagement. But he Fen Lin suddenly paused and hugged Zhu Ruang tightly. I have my own ideas. Other women can cancel the engagement, but you can't. You, what do you mean? Zhu Ruang's eyes suddenly panicked. Fen Lin sighed deeply. He didn't know what was going on. It's obvious that Zhu Ruang's character is not the one I like. But it turned out that he had feelings for Zhu Ruang. It means that after my investigation, I discovered that you, a woman, barely caught my attention. Fen Lin calmly grabbed Zhu Ruang's hand. You want a divorce, but I don't agree. Chapter 275 Prepare to go to war with other women. Fen Lin's words made Zhu Ruang a little nervous. She asked nervously, I can understand. Are you confessing your love to me? That's right. It's officially confirmed that you are one of my wives. Fen Lin looked solemn. One of the wives. You think she's pretty. But that's it. Zhu Ruang had returned to normal, but when she heard this, she pinched Fen Lin's arm angrily. Zhu Ruang, don't get carried away, Fen Lin said calmly. You are nothing if not big. Don't challenge my patience. Then get a divorce. If you hate me and won't let me go, right? A bitch. Zhu Ruang looked at Fen Lin expressionlessly. It's okay, this time it was my fault and I apologize to you. Fen Lin smiled again. Otherwise, from now on, your title will be promoted and Zhang will become your wife. What do you think? TCH. You said it very well. You dare to call me that in front of other fiancés? Zhu Ruang asked coldly. Dare, no matter who was here, I will call you that. Although Fen Lin did not admit it with his mouth, he already recognized it in his heart. Character defects are defects, at least you can give him a facial cleanser. Of course, the most important thing is that the two have known each other since they were children. Zhu Ruang is also making changes herself. Okay. This is what you said. Come with me to the villa across the street later. Zhu Ruang needs to check. See if Fen Lin dares to call out his wife in front of Jingu Jiqihui. If you dare, wait for Lan Rao to come next time and ask her to do the same. Okay, wife. Fen Lin smiled and let go of Zhu Ruang, letting her sit on the sofa next to her. As usual, he rested on Zhu Ruang's lap. His eyes were immediately blinded. Zhu Ruang suddenly asked, what are you going to do about King's matter? Just follow my father's wishes. After the advice of Fen Lin's father and the second master, this was the safest way. It is also more suitable for Fen Lin's character. He likes to be passive. Ask Zhao King directly if he is willing to be his woman. If not, forget it. If he is willing, then Fen Lin can only treat her well. Go away, now I need to think about our relationship. Zhu Ruang suddenly pushed Fen Lin's head, stood up and leaned back on her boss's chair. She knew very well that if she really left Fen Lin, he would still have no shortage of women. For example, Wang Ling of the Wang family made it clear at the beginning that she didn't care if Fen Lin had other women. The same goes for the very pretentious Lu Yao at the beginning. Zhu Ruang held her cheek, very confused. After all, she is a new age woman and her thinking is different from those lonely families. Honey, I called King. Fen Lin looked at Zhu Ruang and said. Call. Zhu Ruang said calmly. Fen Lin immediately sent a message to Zhao King. After a while, Zhao King knocked on the door. Fen Lin took the initiative to step forward and open the door. Zhao King lowered her head and walked in cautiously, not daring to look at Zhu Ruang. King, let me ask you a question. Are you willing to be Fen Lin's woman? Zhu Ruang jumped in front of Fen Lin and asked coldly. I don't want to. I know that Mr. Zhu and Fen Lin are an unmarried couple, and I am the third one. Zhao King glanced at Zhu Ruang secretly and immediately lowered her head. What if I don't care? Zhu Ruang asked. Mr. Zhu, there's no need to test me like this. I am resigning today and plan to never see Fen Lin again. Zhao King thought that Zhu Ruang was testing and responded very seriously. I'm serious. Do you care if this bastard Fen Lin has other women? Zhu Wang said this, paused for a moment, and sorted out her words. Just understand, Fen Lin has other women. Do you mind being my sister forever? Fen Lin had a question mark on her face. He looked at Zhu Wang and asked, Honey, what do you mean by this? You have no right to speak here. Zhu Wang snorted coldly. Fen Lin pursed his lips and asked you to be a little arrogant today. Mr. Zhu, I don't understand what you mean. Zhao King was also confused. Fen Lin has other women. Those women are crazy and don't give me face, so I want to win me as a teammate. Zhu Wang stood with her hands on the table. As my wife, I agree that you will become the woman of Fen Lin. Are you willing to do it in the future? Are you willing to be by my side forever? This Zhao King felt like her outlook on life had been affected. But if you think about it carefully, Fen Lin has many extraordinary things. If that's the case, I'm willing. Zhao King didn't want to lie to Zhu Wang. This was her truth. If he didn't like Fen Lin, why would he sacrifice his life? Not to mention that she was a woman, she was satisfied if Zhu Wang agreed to stay with Fen Lin. Okay. It's settled. Zhu Wang nodded in satisfaction, whether it was Wang Linger, Lu Yao, or her nemesis Lan Rao. They are all very powerful. In comparison, his strength is low and his background is not good. The only thing I can do is unite my teammates. If one can't compare to you, then two. As long as there are many people, she has the right to speak. Honey, we are all a family, don't form such a small group. Fen Lin smiled awkwardly. He finally understood that Zhu Wang was preparing in advance to start a war with other women. If this is the case, you will never want to be clean in the future. Shut up. Who was a family member to them? Zhu Wang stood up coldly and patted Zhao King on the shoulder. King, from now on, if there are no outsiders, you will call me sister. Okay, sister. Zhao King looked at Fen Lin secretly and nodded with a blushing face. Well, if I live with Fen Lin from now on and other women dare to bully me, you must be by my side. Zhu Wang always felt that she still had too few teammates, so she took the time to ask Zhu Ziyin. If they bring her here, she'll have more of a say. There is also Zhang Mu. The relationship between the two is also good and they can discuss each other. Be it Wang Linger, Lan Rao, Jinggu Jiqiu or the Blue Yao. They are all very arrogant people. They should not be willing to join hands with others because of their reputation. Sister has been kind to me and ignored her past grudges against me. I will definitely support my sister. Zhao King told the truth. Fen Lin rolled his eyes helplessly. That could only be the case. Just take one step at a time. Okay. From now on, you will be my secretary and I will leave all my affairs to you. Zhu Wang couldn't wait any longer, grabbed Fen Lin's arm and prepared a return to the villa. The two returned home separately. Zhu Wang went to the room to change into sports clothes first and then led Fen Lin to the opposite door. Boss. Jinggu Jiqiu and his hidden nearby were watching a movie. When they found Fen Lin back, they immediately walked over with a smile. Zhu Wang crossed her arms and looked at Fen Lin. The meaning in her eyes was particularly striking. Fen Lin smiled bitterly, but since he agreed, he must keep his word. Wife Zhu Wang nodded in satisfaction. I hate it. Boss, why did you call me that? I'm so embarrassed. Jinggu Jiqiu suddenly lowered his head shyly. Zhu Wang cursed, and she said lightly, he is calling me, right, Fen Lin? That's how it is. Fen Lin nodded. End of this chapter. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is completely available on Patreon. I invite you to subscribe and enjoy all the content.